And the name on the contract does say McMahon. However, the contract reads
Originally, we did a couple of roadblocks,
Hello, everybody. It's your old friends at Nerds Are Us, and welcome back to a Butterfly Suplex Effect here on the Nerds Are Us channel. You're joining us for our next foray back into the past of professional wrestling history and trying to do it better. Because, shocking enough, you'd be shocked to hear three very opinionated Irishmen think that we can do better than the entire booking committee of WWE and whatever phase of humanity Vince McMahon was going through at that time. I think at 2010 he was halfway through Lizard, but unconfirmed. Things those they kind of blur after a while, to be perfectly honest. But tonight I am joined by my booking committee, as it were, of Aaron and Jamie, who have obviously we alternate based on who has the prompt and who gets to moderate. So I am the grand arbiter tonight to decide on which scenario I think is best between our two writers here. So. Uh, as you may have guessed from the title of the video, I will bring your mind back to the year 2010. Was it a lull in wrestling? Yes. The answer is always yes. Especially when it's anything beyond the Attitude Era. The answer is always a lull. There was a point in the Ruthless Aggression era where things were good, and there was a point at WrestleMania 40 where things were good. Everything else has been a lull since then. Let's not lie to each other. Um, but
No, no. After this, we had the pipe bomb. That wasn't a lull.
sorry, can you just stand up there, Aaron, and just kind of just want to just check what much? Yeah, sorry, just that's the second for that sentence there. So
Well, okay. No, I
that
might
is
be a
that's a
mark,
fair point.
but
That is a fair point.
yes,
Yes,
the three. Jesus Christ, it was 3 years after this. Fuck.
yeah,
Didn't realize the Nexus been on that long. 3 years after this was probably the next bump, and then it died again for another little bit,
exactly. Yeah,
and I can't even
no,
remember the next
and it
fucking.
fell and it died a horrible death, and somehow Kevin Nash is at fault. Like, imagine blaming Kevin Nash for wrestling in 2013. That's how. Do you know what? That's a question for another episode. But what we are here to discuss tonight is indeed the Nexus, and very much the kind of as we kind of roll back the months and use the power of hindsight. It really was a calamitous set of decisions of booking when it was quite an interesting storyline to start off with. You know, this invasion of this influx of new talent coming in from this almost like rogue entity called NXT. You know, basically, in case you didn't know, the original version of NXT was basically a set of humiliation rituals to prove that you're willing enough to get into WWE. And obviously there was a willing class of wrestlers willing to do that with NXT season one. They all ended up becoming members of the Nexus on June the 7th, 2010, was a very seminal day for everyone. Some people even call it Nexus Day, although I presume that's like a set amount of Michael Tarver stands that are still in the world that call it Nexus Day. But it was the
Fucking
day
hell,
that
imagine being a
Nexus
Michael
came.
Tarver sang. Fucking hell.
Well, I presume his mom is a fan of Nexus Day. That's a that'll be the guess. Like, you know, I think even his cousins might have to scratch their heads to remember. But But yes, it was the day that the Nexus invaded Monday Night Raw, and it was something that was completely out of the blue. Basically, happened the day after, or the week indeed after NXT season one ended. And anyone brain points who won NXT season one? Do we remember?
Wade Barrett.
Wade Barrett was the correct answer, and indeed he revealed himself to be the ringleader, the organizer of this proverbial cabal, this takeover of Monday Night Raw, and everything was going according to plan, except for one little thing that kind of put the handbrake on the whole thing, and that was the unfortunate spot that Daniel Bryan, also known as Bryan Danielson, and Justin Roberts cooked up by themselves because Justin Roberts was also a indie carny once upon a time. He wasn't just good at saying the word "nyan." They came up with the idea of a choking spot with a tie, which for a visual looks fantastic and looks hideous and grotesque. And oh my god, they're attacking the ring announcer. Somebody stop them. Not realizing that all the sponsors still remember who Chris Benoit was and decided that they wanted to step in. They intervened and wanted Daniel Bryan's head on the platter. So Daniel Bryan was released and then quietly re-signed a couple of months later after a few kind of gimme appearances on the Indies. So in that time, however, we had some constant backs and forth between the Nexus. John Cena was predominantly the target of the Nexus around that time because he was a WWE champion going into this whole storyline. And then we had these bizarre matches. We had a team WWE versus Team Nexus that somehow involved Bret Hart. Again, Bret Hart in the year of our 2010. What the fuck were they thinking? Um, then even if that doesn't work, we have a pay-per-view called Bragging Rights, which is again that whole gimmick all over again, and then followed by Survivor Series. And then the coup de grace is indeed John Cena literally burying Wade Barrett at TLC tables, ladders, and chairs. So what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be wiping that entire slate clean tonight. We're going to be starting off from scratch. We're going back to June 7th, and we are starting from scratch, with the only change being that that spot between Daniel Bryan and Justin Roberts doesn't happen. So my challenge for you, my lovely people here, is to basically substitute that spot for something else. And let's see where history takes us from there. So I've given you guys the timeline that we're going to work with here. So we're not going a full year because we'd be here all fucking night. But what I am going to do is we're going to start off on June 7th. There was a pay per view 2 weeks afterwards, which is a fatal four way. That's where Sheamus wins the WWE Championship. So I will let you decide if you want to do that. So June 7th and fatal four way is kind of lumped into one here. So whatever little bits and bobs you want to do for that pay per view, you can throw in here as well. Then our second step on the way then is Money in the Bank, followed then by SummerSlam. Then we have Night of Champions. Now, what I've also thrown in here to give yourselves a little bit of a plot spackle is in between SummerSlam and Night of Champions, NXT Season 2 wraps up. So that's where you get your second, if you want to, your second influx of talent if you want to, if you so choose. Then after Night of Champions, we've got Hell in a Cell, then Bragging Rights, then Survivor Series, NXT Season 3, which is a Divas Only campaign that ends just before TLC Tables, Ladders, and Chairs. And that's essentially the end of our timeline of the proverbial Nexus story. However, I am adding on the Royal Rumble as the essentially the if you like the deciding leg, the epilogue to the storyline here. Whatever legacy you've built up in this time will we'll roll into the Royal Rumble and we'll go from there basically. So it's 9 points on the line here, lads, for you. So yeah, so whoever wants to kick on, bring us back to June 7th, 2010 and take it away.
Do you want to go first?
No, you first.
That's the sound of a man who has no plan, and I've just written mine. So technically, I'm more prepared than him at this point.
Then Aaron,
Um,
you can crack on then.
I'm going to change really nothing about what happened that night. Um, Brian still does the spot, I think. He just doesn't get
Okay.
fired from it. He just doesn't get fired from it. That's the uproar doesn't happen, essentially. And people still get battered in the back, but they take out kind of no one's like your fucking David Hart Smiths and your at the time Dashing Cody Rhodes and
Hmm.
your Kurt Hawkins and stuff. They all get fucking wiped clean. Um, they get some. Oh, my Chloe just came out. Sorry about that. They get some. I heard a rustling behind me. I was like, oh. They get some fight back from some of the main eventers, but still they lose out your Jerichos, your Punks, and Cena and stuff. Sheamus will even kind of attempt it, but because they're going into Fatal 4-Way, he's like, this might work out in my favor.
Mhm.
So we get to Fatal 4-Way, uh, and the big change is Sheamus doesn't win the belt. It
Okay, so
stays
that
with
is
Cena.
that is one change you're doing is
That's
Sheamus not.
that's the main one, and yeah, and then immediately after Cena keeps it, there's no, I mean, no fucking about with the title thing. The Nexus are on top. They should have done this from the first place. They immediately come out and batter Cena, and the closing shot we get from Fatal 4-Way at that point is Barrett over Cena with the belt, and
Mm,
the Nexus standing behind him. Um, that's kind of the only change. They're kind of the only big changes I'd make from that. There's really nothing else
okay.
to change from my end, to be quite honest. Because the booking at the start was fine, actually.
Mm,
I think for the first like couple of months it was grand. Um, but yeah, some faces again come out to try and stop it when it happens, but I think everyone just decides fuck that. I think there's slightly. I wasn't this around the time that people were really starting to get sick of Cena.
we were smack bang in the middle of Super Cena era, really. Like anything
Yeah,
that they were thrown, anyone that was being thrown to Cena was being jobbed out, really. So like it
yeah.
was, yeah.
But yeah, they're gonna keep he's gonna keep the belt. Last shot you see of TLC is on the Nexus standing around Cena, and boom, this is where shit will actually start to properly change, I think, in my
Okay.
storyline. But that's where I'm gonna start it with Cena getting battered by
Hmm.
Barrett, and Sheamus doesn't win the belt.
Okay. Interesting.
We'll
So
kind of
that's
set it up as well,
hmm.
slightly in the sense of they pick Cena to win. Like Barrett knew the I think the logic would stand with that. Barrett's first title win can't be against Sheamus. Barrett's first title win has got to be against Cena. Do you
Okay.
get what I
Interesting.
mean? So
Yeah.
even I think even he realizes it, the company realizes you can give like Sheamus's first title win.
Hmm.
Is that really going to work if it's fucking at the time? As I look at the roster,
I think this would be his second title win now at this stage, wouldn't it? We've already had
that
his
would
first
that would that would have
United
been his first.
Champion.
Like put it this way, would that title win have worked if it was against the fucking Miz the first time at TLC the year beforehand?
Yeah.
No, it
No,
wouldn't
that's
have.
fair. Yeah.
So I seen it beating Cena as your first title win is like fucking, winning the Royal Rumble in the first time you do it.
Hmm.
Doesn't really hit the same if you've done it 10 times beforehand and you fail.
Fair. Okay. Okay. Yep, that's fair. Okay, so that is one change to Aaron's timeline is that so obviously Daniel Bryan's spot still goes on as normal, but instead of Sheamus winning the championship, the WWE Championship at Fatal 4-Way, Cena retains, and that leads us on then to the proper Cena versus Nexus feud that no doubt we'll see Aaron's timeline going forward. Jamie, I'll invite you to counterpoint and see what you have.
Okay, so much the same as Aaron. I'm not going to change much on the night. No, I'm not going to do the tie spot. I'll have them brutalize everyone, but we'll leave out the joke. We don't need it.
Okay.
From there, um, it's 2 weeks to Fatal Four Way. Both weeks on both shows, the general managers have said we're not doing that again, and so every match becomes a lumberjack match. Every
Ooh.
show, the roster is sent out to surround the ring, and if anyone shows up, they're to show them what WWE is all about. At Fatal Four Way, the Nexus are invited to the show. Wade Barrett, as a contracted Raw superstar, will be in a Fatal Four Way match as a qualifier for the Money in the Bank. At the
Hmm.
show, the boys are all sitting ringside, but they do not get involved. In the Fatal Four Way, we have Barrett, Evan Bourne, Kofi Kingston, and Dolph Ziggler.
Hmm.
Um, I want the finish to be that Bourne is going for the shooting star press on Ziggler. Barrett hits the ropes. Bourne drops down. Barrett scoops him onto his shoulders. Wasteland onto Ziggler. pins Bourne. Wade Barrett in his debut match, successful by himself, qualifying for the Money in the Bank. Later that night, before the pay-per-view ends, we get the Nexus backstage, where they run into the general managers, who are none too pleased. Well, at this point, I might even have it be Vince.
None too plus even.
None too plussed. But basically, it's Vince. Yeah, look at it's Vince. And he basically is really pissed about what happened on June 7th and tells them that if they want to know what WWE is all about, then they'll show them. And at this point, the 8 members of the Nexus are jumped by the entire rosters of Raw and SmackDown. They are singled out. They are beaten like they're Daniel Puder and it's 2005. A point is made. They are left battered, bruised, and bloody. And at that point, Vince points out that 7 of the 8 of you don't even work here. Get the hell out of my building. Wade Barrett is the only one who won a contract in that competition. And that's how the pay-per-view ends.
Okay, interesting. What say you about the Fatal 4-Way main event? Do you have Sheamus winning or Cena
I
retaining?
very much have Cena retaining.
You have Cena retaining as well. Okay. Okay, so the real kind of question is essentially, so seeing that we're both going for Cena retaining in the main event, what really matters or what's the real difference here now is whether we have this spot with Daniel Bryan happening or not. Um I will probably say I'm swaying towards giving the point to Jamie, mainly because I think even if the spot, I think if the tie spot happens, a corporate WWE at this point would still kind of cause umbrage on that. I think just mechanically, it was obviously an ad lib, and the ad lib just wouldn't happen. But I think what's actually curious to me here is that like, there is a sort of a a setup to Money in the Bank. The machinations are there in terms of like there's obviously a good response from WWE for Nexus. It's presented Nexus as an actual threat. I think it's fair to say. So I'm going to give the point. I'm going to give the starting point to Jamie here on this one. So we've established that Wade Barrett is now in Money in the Bank. In fairness, I'd say he probably will be featured in Money in the Bank for both timelines anyway. I think it's fair to say because that's the whole point. But at the very least, we've established there's a bit of body on it to explain that yes, WWE are immediately snuffing out the Nexus threat immediately. So that gives us a kind of a different vantage point on that. So yeah, I think we'll start off on that one. So so with that then, so Jamie, we are gonna move on then to Money in the Bank. So we'll alternate going down the timeline here. So again, if everyone wants to, if you want to remember Money in the Bank 2010, I'm sure you don't. But yes, in the 2 Money in the Banks that we had, Kane obviously defeated everyone to win his Money in the Bank briefcase. He would cash in later on that day, that night even, against Rey Mysterio. So he becomes champion for the first time actually that night, which is remarkable to say about Kane. Then the Miz
No?
won. I think was that his first one?
No. He won the WWE title against Stone Cold in a first blood match.
He has.
Oh
He
yeah,
had.
I
Yeah.
always
He.
I always
One night.
I always forget because it's only one day. Like that's just, like,
Yeah.
it's such a fucking it's such a wait, yeah. It is technically his first one. Yes, absolutely. I always keep forgetting that because it's only the one day. But yeah. So then on
It
the
was.
Raw
I
side,
like to point out one day by mistake.
true.
But
It was a
Yeah.
still,
mistake.
one day after beating Stone Cold in 1998,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's worth 10 years in another era.
That's very true. Um, but yeah, so that was the SmackDown Money in the Bank ladder match. On the Raw side, we had the Miz claiming the Money in the Bank briefcase for himself, and in the main event, Sheamus retained his championship against John Cena. Conspicuous enough, no Nexus on the Money in the Bank card, which very I suppose was kind of symbolic of the fact that Nexus was kind of on ice over the Daniel Bryan spot. So, so at least that way, no doubt we're going to have a Nexus presence on both timelines here. So, Jamie, I'll start off with you here on this one. You've set us up now with Wade Barrett in the Money in the Bank match. What happens
Yep.
from there?
So basically, Wade Barrett spends the build to Money in the Bank being hazed. The WWE wrestlers have made it clear that they do not like or respect the way he showed up in this company. And seeing as his friends don't work here and can't help him, he's on his own. So a lot of him taking a lot of beatings, tag matches where his partner walks out. Just nobody seems to want him there, and they're not afraid to let him know that. Once we get to the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, we have a field of competitors. Shit.
The Raw mid card.
Yes, basically, we have the Raw mid card. With a couple
Well,
of
I'll throw out some names to you then, Jamie, because the real Money in the Bank ladder match in the main timeline would have had Jericho, Edge, Evan Bourne,
keeping them.
Morrison, Henry, Orton, DiBiase, Miz. So I think actually was it
Oh,
8 people in the briefcase match at this time? Like, geez, they really went mental on this one.
I am gunning for it to have 8, so take your pick. Take one of them
Okay.
out and throw in Barrett. But what the important thing is that when it comes crunch time, match goes, Barrett is taken out immediately by everyone.
Mm.
They all then turn on each other. Eventually, Barrett comes back in. Now he's the freshest. At which point, the other 7 members of the Nexus attack
Mm.
each of the other 7 members of the match. There's someone for everyone. At this point, Wade Barrett takes advantage, climbs the ladder, grabs the briefcase. The entire locker room starts to spill out. The Nexus scarper away into the crowd. Wade Barrett is Mr. Money in the Bank, and the Nexus are seemingly back. Maybe they'll have something to say tomorrow night on Raw.
Indeed. Okay, so yeah, so that's seems like very reasonable enough. As I said, like you've had I suppose like it was well signposted at Fatal Four Way that Barrett kind of got there by hook or by crook, and no, at least there's a little bit of almost babyface energy about it. Almost there's a kind of a like there's like you're starting to feel a little bit of sympathy for Barrett here. It's like, oh come on, who doesn't want to do an insurrection on Raw, lads? Come on, like we've all been there. Like it's only a little insurrection. It's not that bad.
The teensy one.
It's just a small amount.
Keep it
Um,
interesting.
exactly, yeah. Are you so obviously main event was Cena Sheamus. Are you keeping with that main event then as well then in terms of that?
Sure, I would keep the match, but Cena retains.
Fair. Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. All right then, very good. So with that then, Aaron, we switch over to you then. So what have you got for us for Money in the Bank?
I've actually phased this out that if I don't win it this time, I'm gonna fucking snap. Anyway, in my head, I'm going, oh, that's some title run. Oh, anyway, in this one, we get to Money in the Bank. It's Cena and Barrett. Uh, but are we still doing what we did the last time, where we'll do our own ones as it goes along, and then
Yeah, you can do your own ones this time.
yeah,
We're not doing we're doing it like we did last time. Yeah. So
yeah, okay.
stick to your own timeline.
So it's because of all that's happened in the weeks leading up to it.
Hmm.
Vince comes out and says, "You have your match, but it's in a steel cage. I want no fucking about. It's two of you are going to fight." Obviously, that doesn't stop them, of course, because it's a steel cage and it's very easy to get into because it's a steel cage. So, the same again will happen. It's going to be Barrett's going to come out. They're going to have a fucking fight. Super Cena, lol. They get to a point where I think he's going to win. The ref gets knocked out. All of the Nexus comes in. Um, one or two stay on the outside, the bigger lads out of the group, which I think at that point would have been Husky Harris and Tarver.
Harris wasn't in season one. It would have been
Skip Sheffield
Oh,
was bit of Ryback.
yeah.
fucking Ryback. Jesus Christ. Yeah, fucking Skip Sheffield. Yeah. So we'll go with him and Tarver. I
Hmm.
forgot he even existed. He is nowhere in this booking.
So any
Nowhere in this
mention of
booking.
Husky Harris, I'd say just scratch out and just say Skip Sheffield. I think that'd be what I'd recommend there.
So he'll win the belt.
Hmm.
It'll be fucking mayhem. Kind of the same as yours. The locker room is going to flood out, but everyone leaves. Barrett will walk away after beating the shit out of Cena, leaving him a bloody mess in the ring, and boom, we have Barrett's title win that should have happened fucking then, and not. Well, actually, did he even cash in that title match? Did he ever actually cash in that title match?
What
I think
title
he
match?
did, but he lost it.
When Barrett won season 1 of NXT, he was entitled to a world title match.
But he's just entitled to a contract.
Yeah,
No, he
it
was
was,
also entitled to a world.
All right.
It was the winners because Caval won 4, I think,
Two.
Caval
and
won season 2, but he cashed it in
yes,
for the
for the
Continental
IC belt.
title.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
yes.
Yes.
So they were
Yes.
given, you were guaranteed a title shot. At the start, they
Okay.
said it was a world title, but then they just said it was a title shot.
A title.
Kind of what
Fair
they did with
enough.
Money in the Bank afterward. So Barrett will win.
Uh, I
Everyone still
actually
gets
have
battered.
the information for you there, Aaron. So yes, his
Oh,
title shot was he cashed it in at Night of Champions in a 6-pack. So he joined the 6-pack elimination challenge.
Jesus, that's a waste.
It was such a waste. So yeah, he inserted
okay.
himself into that match to make it a 6-pack elimination, and he lost that match to Randy Orton. So
Lovely.
n-
Brilliant.
not the
Phenomenal
smartest man, I'll
stuff.
be honest,
No,
based off that
not the
logic.
smartest man at all. But
Yeah.
yeah, Barrett will still win. We end it with them up in the crowd, kind of a la fucking Punk when he won it. Just looking down and everything. Vince is in the ring, fucking angry. Everyone's looking over at Cena. Bloody mess.
Hmm.
Mayhem. Shock and awe. We move on to next week. What happens going into SummerSlam? Nothing really is going to change in terms of all of them winning belts. Because I
Hmm.
think the only title, I could be wrong, was the only title they ever won in Nexus the penny tag team type title.
Yes,
Because
I think it was Slater and Otunga. I think won the tag team
and
championships.
Cena and Otunga had it at one point when
Yes.
Cena was a part of
Yes,
the group, and
that's right.
yeah, that was kind of the only one they ever fucking had. But yeah, so that will change significantly
Hmm.
as time goes on in my one. But that's where we ended there. Vince is trying to get rid of them. He can't get rid of them. Every single
Hmm.
time someone stands up to him, even when they think someone's alone, they're not alone. They're getting fucking battered. You think that they're not around? Oh god, they're coming out of the closets. Oh Jesus, they're
Hmm.
coming out of the ring. They're like a fucking virus. They literally cannot get rid of them. Kind of bit more NWO in that respect, where they had a new member every week, but at least we know the members here. We just don't know where they are all the time.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
no
yeah.
matter
Because like,
what happens, no matter
yeah,
what happens, they always have the upper hand. Like no one can get the upper hand on them. It's like they map out the arena before they get in. It's like, oh, they're
Hmm.
not here. Actually, yeah, they fucking are. That type of thing.
Okay, okay, very
So
good.
that's how they'll do it, and they'll still continue to maybe do the shit that they done with the legends. Remember, there was a small part where they were hitting Ricky Steamboat, and they were hitting. I was it Ricky Steamboat, and they got Bret Hart, and they
Dusty
got
Rhodes, they got it.
Dusty
They
Rhodes. They got as well, yeah. So they had a kind of thing that where they were hitting legends, all right. So they'll kind of continue that, while also taking out as time goes on Raw specifically, their bigger names, Triple H,
Hmm.
you know, Punk, The Big Show, because it is 2010, so he's
Yeah,
still there.
he is there. Yeah,
um, he is
he was
still
injured,
there,
as I
and
recall, wasn't he? CM Punk for a
he
spell.
was in. He was injured. He was injured. Yeah. So Punk's still there. They're getting rid of him. They're basically nullifying any sort of threat that they have going into that steel cage match in a couple of
Hmm.
weeks as they lead up to it, and then he eventually wins. And oh God, what's going to happen? Essentially,
Okay. Okay, interesting. So one question for you on that one. So obviously it's the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. So what are you doing with the Money in the Bank briefcase? Who do you have winning that?
for the first time since we started doing this, I don't care. It has absolutely nothing to do with my storyline.
They'll
Okay.
We'll
make
say we'll say that'll be more of a SmackDown thing this time. There's so much going on in the Raw main event. It's pointless to bring it up. I
But
tried to.
you do have two briefcases in play here. This 2010 did have
I
two briefcase
I
ladder matches.
even at that point, I still don't even have it in. I think it's adding on a hat and a hat what I have planned out. To be honest,
Okay.
with the idea I have in my head, it really is just a hat and a hat and a hat. There's no need
Okay.
for it.
So well then so let's infer then there's no change then. So the Miz
There's
probably just
no
add a
change.
briefcase then. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough then. Okay. Uh, First of all, hot starts from both of you, I have to say. But one of his has pulled the trigger quicker than I thought in terms of the title. Like I felt like what Wade Barrett title run was happening. I just didn't know when we were going to be doing it. I am, however, going to give the point to Aaron. I'm gonna make this one a piece, and it is predominantly because well remembered with the fucking NXT contract shit because I forgot about the title matches. I knew it was a
yeah.
professional
Same.
contract. I forgot about the actual
Yeah,
title match parts.
I
So
fucking
I will
remember
give you, yeah,
that.
I will give you on that one because I think like like the logic is actually I think both logics worked out perfectly well in a weird way. On Jamie's timeline, Barrett's trying to be very, very honest and do it the right way, which is an interesting twist on the Nexus that I want to see more of in Jamie's storyline. Um, but for the moment, I think the aggressiveness of getting Barrett up the main event and making him WWE champion and making the Nexus feel a bit more of a threat feels like a bit more. It's a bit more of a legitimate booking than say when Sheamus won it the year before, where it was just like a sudden like, oh shit, Sheamus is now champion. You know,
Yeah.
it was that kind of out of the blue kind of like novelty. Didn't really like it worked for Sheamus obviously in the first go around, but like you need to do something else in order
Hmm.
to propel people faster than that. So I think having Barrett like obviously using his actual valid NXT contract to get the title shots. I'm sure there would have been rationale where like obviously it's hard for this guy on NXT to go straight for John Cena, but there was a plan and the plan was the Nexus.
Hmm.
So yeah, so we certainly have that in play. Um, so yeah, one apiece then, and we're gonna roll then into SummerSlam from that. So, now SummerSlam was obviously one of the bigger, shall we say, if we're being diplomatic, one of the major missteps along the way for the Nexus.
Hmm.
Everything got lumped into a 7-on-7 elimination match. We had Team WWE, which would obviously, if you remember these incredible fucking names, I'm doing a full Norm Macdonald here. All the stars are here. Uh, so obviously we have the Nexus, which is of course, as we all know, Barrett, Otunga, Gabriel, Slater, Young, Sheffield, and Tarver. And then WWE was captained by John Cena, but we also had John Morrison, R-Truth, Edge, Chris Jericho, Bret Hart, and Daniel Bryan, who
which
defects.
they've which they fucking buckled, if you remember, about 2 hours before the show started, because someone
Yes,
updated the website too early, and
that's
then everyone
right.
figured
Yeah.
out he was coming back.
Um, in fairness, it wasn't even that much of a secret, really. Like I think it was a kind of a fairly open secret that like he wasn't technically released. He was just put on ice, and it was just a matter of time.
Yeah, but still at that point, a lot of wrestling fans weren't, the vast majority of them
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
kind of were in the know, but they weren't very in the know, so it did come across as, oh fuck, they actually did bring him back. Oh
yes,
shit, brilliant.
yeah. So, so yeah, so I get the feeling we're going to see a very different SummerSlam here. So, Aaron, I'll start off with you on this time. So, you have Barrett going into SummerSlam as WWE champion. What happens next?
But what happens next is Cena's gone for a while. He has been fucking persona non grata because of the fact that he got his head absolutely kicked in every
Okay.
different way possible. This leads to a new challenger, and in this timeline, his next challenger is Batista, who I think might have been faced for some of 2010.
Did
Or
he
is this
not
when he?
quit?
I can't remember. Did he quit or not? In
I
this
think
one,
he
let's say he
did.
doesn't.
I
We'll
think it
we'll
was
put
after
about,
Over the Limit, right
yeah.
before the Nexus debuted, he did
Well,
his I quit.
in in this, yes, because Guardians of the Galaxy was out in the fucking summer, wasn't it? In August. When in this one, the Guardians of the Galaxy doesn't exist, and he doesn't get fucking picked for that. Aye.
Wow, that's okay. That's a bit of a curveball to throw in here. It's like who gets the gig?
Jim,
Does Bobby Lashley get the gig as Drax then? Like, how does that work? Like, does Cena get it?
uh,
Cena now Drax in
no,
this universe?
it'll be Jason Statham. Um,
Like,
Okay,
how can Cena
agree on.
go away? At least give Cena the part. It's what happened
Yeah,
with Peacemaker. Batista
true.
said
yeah.
no, Cena got the
Peacemaker
part.
in your universe. That works.
Yeah.
That works perfectly fine. Yeah.
Right. So in this one, yeah, he does. Batista comes out. He's turned face because let's just say in this point he's been gone for a while.
Okay.
Vince needed a monster to beat a monster. Batista's his monster. He signs a big bumper contract, and the one rule for him to sign it is, I get a title shot at SummerSlam because I want to beat his ass at SummerSlam. It's a very simple concept, I
Okay.
think, more than anything. Right? In between all of this, Brian will win the IC belt
Hmm.
against, who did he beat for
But if
the
you like,
IC
the
belt?
Intercontinental Championship at this point was held by Dolph
Kofi.
Ziggler or Kofi did. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Kofi,
We'll say he
Dolph.
beat
Yeah.
Kofi because, yeah,
Kofi
yeah.
for
So he
sure.
beat Kofi Kingston for it. Now, this is a very different Brian than what we're used to. This is not going to be the Brian, the smiley one. It's straight up American Dragon Daniel Bryan. He
Now,
has
in
a
fairness,
vicious streak to him.
You have set the groundwork on that by keeping the tie
Yeah,
spot in your storyline. So, okay,
that's
interesting.
so he
Yeah,
gets the workhorse belt. He is the
right.
workhorse.
Okay.
Nothing will really change with Brian in terms of his indie booking. Well, not
Mm,
booking, his indie look to his WWE look.
okay.
It's violent, shaved head, beard Brian. Everyone loves. So that's what we have there. It gets to SummerSlam. Batista effectively says, I'm gonna fucking beat him. This is where the Nexus starts to meet some sort of fucking friction. He does manage to pick him off as the night goes on. He gets the
Mm.
weaker ones. So he gets out fucking he gets out where the fuck
I
is the rest
event
of it?
Young and Tarver would be the weak ones there, I'd say, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Like,
so he'll take out Young and Tarver, and he'll take out Justin Gabriel. And because Brian has won the IC belt, let's just say he's preoccupied with what the fuck happened there, right? But this
mm,
does set up what I have planned next. So we get to the main event. It looks like Dan Batista is gonna fucking put the big heave ho on um on Barrett. But
mm.
this is where we get season 2 NXT call-ups into it. And this is where we get where is it? Where in the fuck is it? Where is the Nexus? So
Well,
this is
so what
where
you'd have is you would have the likes of
yeah,
Caval, you'd have Mason Ryan, Husky Harris. I just want
this is where Mason Ryan and Husky Harris come into it. No, Mason Ryan's not going to have a big part. The two of them aren't going to have a big part in my storyline overall. It'll just be there to just beef up the numbers. This is where they debut. They beat the shit out of Batista. We get a very early Shield triple power bomb before the Shield come along. They fucking wipe him out. Gets in, pins him. Now they have 2 belts. You have the
mm,
American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, and you have as the IC title holder the vicious fucker that he is, and on the other hand you have the WWE champion Wade Barrett, who's now popped off two of the biggest stars in wrestling in the space of 2 months.
mm.
So there you go. This is what we have,
Okay.
and this leads into the next one where he'll meet a more insurmountable challenge as we hit Hell in a Cell. Who could it be? Who could it be indeed?
Indeed. I wonder who was on the poster for Hell in a Cell that year. Maybe that's a clue.
I
So
can't remember, so I don't know.
well, we have
Let
another
me.
chance to get to there first, so don't let's not jump the gun there. But yes, in case for people who are trying to remember what NXT season 2 was, that would have been a season where Caval won it, where his pros were lay cool, which was honestly a bit of fun. It was terrible. I won't lie to you lads. Then we had Michael McGillicuddy, who cut the worst promo in anyone's ever fucking life. Like, genuinely, I have cut better promos on DCW than Michael McGillicuddy did on NXT live
Hold on.
TV.
Hold on,
Uh,
was that the
this is
the
the A
fucking the
time.
Seinfeld
This is the
Yeah,
Seinfeld
moment.
this is the moment of McGillicuddy. What's the deal with airline peanuts? Do you know what Caval means in Peruvian? Whatever the fuck. It's a mess. It was a mess.
do do do
God
do
love him.
do 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 do
I think for a narrative purpose, let's just say that promo never happens, or else that season 2 invasion at SummerSlam would go down like a fucking damp cloth. So we had Caval, we had Michael McGillicuddy with Alex Riley, who would eventually become the Miz's Simp. Then we would have Husky Harris, we'd have Percy Watson, who was a catchphrase, has to be said. Lucky Cannon, who got released a couple of weeks later, so not so lucky. And then we had Eli Cottonwood, who was basically Braun Strowman light. And then we
And the
had
original member of the
Wyatt
Wyatt
family.
family.
Indeed, yes. And then we had Titus O'Neil, who of course is a laughing stock. But overall a genuinely nice guy. So that's just for kind of background in terms of when these people are eventually getting deployed in the storyline, those who you have to choose from. So strong stuff from Aaron on his timeline. So Jamie, what does your SummerSlam look like with Mr. Barrett holding the briefcase?
So we pick it up from the night after Money in the Bank,
Mhm.
where the Nexus come to the ring. All of them, 8 of them. And David Otunga takes the microphone because he's going to be taking his position as the mouthpiece of the group.
Okay.
And he points out some things. The last time the Nexus were seen on television was at Fatal 4-Way, when the world witnessed them get assaulted. And they watched as Vince McMahon pointed out himself that they don't even work here.
You don't even
So
go here.
Hmm.
in reality, what we all witnessed was assault on a global scale. You watched 8 civilians get their heads kicked in by a locker room of WWE wrestlers. David Otunga has a Harvard Law degree.
Yes, he
Terry
does.
Yes, he
McDevitt
does.
has a headache. So, as a result, all 8 members now have contracts and are gainfully employed by WWE on very cushy, very unremovable contracts. The Nexus are effectively untouchable. The hazing stops here. From there, for the next few weeks leading to SummerSlam, the Nexus are put into individual matches where they each prove their kind of mettle.
Hmm.
Much the same as Aaron, I am going to have Daniel Bryan defeating Kofi Kingston for the Intercontinental Championship. Elsewhere, each one is going to be given a chance to kind of showcase who they are and what they can do. They're put against an opponent that would complement it. So Skip Sheffield goes in against Dolph Ziggler because he can take the bumps.
Hmm.
Fucking Justin Gabriel goes in against Ali so he can show how much quicker he is, cut down the legs, and hit him with high flying shit. Everyone's given a chance to be showcased. But what also happens is Wade Barrett has a briefcase, and he's made no secret of the fact that he is coming for John Cena and his WWE Championship. The Nexus start attacking Cena. Turns out most of the locker room, not wanting to get locked up in legal battles, don't really care that John Cena is getting attacked. They don't care that the Nexus are coming for Cena's spot because, frankly, they resent him having it too. So, what we see is a very slow smattering over the weeks where, yes, we are building to a 7-on-7 elimination match, and I'm using even less stars. So we've thought.
Even less stars are here.
To be fair, right? Just before you go through that, I like looking at the roster. There's not a lot of star power on that front. Oh,
Nah,
Edge is still there. Fuck.
nah.
They're struggling at
There's
this point,
Yeah,
yeah.
not. Yeah, they are
but
really struggling with fucking new stars.
at this point, the heels are not helping. So what we've got is Cena teaming up with Evan Bourne, Kofi Kingston, John Morrison, Rey Mysterio, R-Truth, Big Show, and the Raw general manager, Bret the Hitman Hart. Because I'm not totally fucking mental. 2 weeks before SummerSlam on Raw, Nexus commits some form of vehicular manslaughter on Bret. They take him out. It's the moment when any semblance to babyface or doing things the right way kind of gets pushed to the back because they're sick and tired of being pushed around. Wade Barrett has not forgotten the beatings he took for the first 2 months here.
Hmm.
No, none of them have forgotten what happened at Fatal 4-Way, and now they're in matches with these people. They are in the same locker room as these people. Bret Hart was the Raw general manager when that went down. He's one of the ones who called for it. Fuck him. Let's run his ass down. Bret Hart is out of SummerSlam. David Otunga, using his legalese, because he's basically Clarence Mason at this point, is going to be adamant that the only way the match can happen at SummerSlam is if John Cena has a team of 8. Bret Hart is out. Do you have a replacement for Bret Hart, John Cena? And the week before SummerSlam, well, John Cena has his 7 and Nexus have their 8. This fire burns by kill switch engage hits, and CM Punk comes out shouting about, I haven't forgotten the night ye got here. Fuck ye. And Punk joins in with the gang. We have our 8 versus 8 for SummerSlam. SummerSlam rolls around, and we start whittling people down real fucking quick. Slater does not last long, and neither does Evan Bourne. We pick him away, we pick him away, we pick him away. We're down to Cena and Punk against Wade Barrett, Daniel Bryan, and Justin Gabriel. John Cena hits the AA on Justin Gabriel. 1, 2, 3. We have 2-on-2. At this point, CM Punk turns on John Cena, hitting the go to sleep and walking the fuck out on him. John Cena is left down against Bryan and Barrett. Punk is gone. He's talking about, why would I care about your spot? I don't care if they take your spot. I'd like to see you lose your spot. That's why I was here.
Fair enough. I like that.
At that point, Wade Barrett comes into the ring with the briefcase and creases John Cena in the back of the fucking skull, hopefully opening him up. He is disqualified. Daniel Bryan covers John Cena, bleeding profusely from the back of his head. 1, 2, 3. The Nexus have defeated Team WWE. At which point Wade Barrett hands the briefcase to the referee, and he covers John Cena. 1, 2, 3. John Cena's doing 2 jobs. And Wade Barrett is the new World WWE champion.
Mm-hmm. Excellent stuff. I love both SummerSlams, to be absolutely honest. I think throwing Batista in as a kind of like, like tactically deployed nuke
Yeah.
is a really nice idea. Particularly again, like again, Batista's stock would have been quite high after getting the stuff with Drax. So if you can get him in for at the very least just a spot, just to have just to have the star power to elevate Barrett, I think that's a really, really good idea. Um and deploying the NXT season tours, if you like, almost ahead of time, because I think if I remember correctly, um, I think I think the run ends a week before SummerSlam. I think 2 weeks, two weeks after SummerSlam, is when NXT season 2 ends. Now
Yeah, I
again,
knew that.
there can be stuff. Yeah, listen, you can do a shorter run. It's fine.
Yeah.
You can have NXT end on the same week as SummerSlam. There's no fucking that's not a major issue to me. Like, again, this is these are your timelines. You can make it as fluid as you want. Or better yet, maybe because of all the shenanigans, maybe Husky Harris and Mason Ryan were eliminated from season 2 of NXT. They're no longer in the running. So fuck it, let's just join the Nexus instead.
Mm.
There's a various different ways you can skin that cat. Um, the angle for SummerSlam on Jamie's side was in a way like very similar to Aaron's in terms like obviously you got like the Daniel Bryan being the kind of second the second in command with the Intercontinental Championship. You got a reason to be for David Otunga, which I think is fair to say like that's kind of what he's there for really. And especially there was a lot of catching up in terms of the kind of like the story beats because obviously Bar wins it earlier on Aaron's side, but SummerSlam rightfully has a lot of stuff going on there. Well done. And I'm gonna give the point to Jamie here for making some level of sense of that fucking like 7 versus 7 match. Because in the real world, that match was terrible and it made no fucking sense. Whereas with this one, it's very evident that like Team WWE is particularly Raw. Let's take Team WWE out of it. Raw in general was really lacking in star power and actual like we need to take on this existential threat. Like we can't ask on SmackDown because there's nobody on SmackDown either. Realistically speaking, so at the very least, like we have to work with what we have here. And yes, you can pick off the likes of Bourne and Kofi very quickly. But at the same time, the Nexus has fairly like irrelevant people as well. But once you do kind of boil down to it, I think having Punk turn on Cena makes an awful lot of sense. because as I said, like it's the shoes on the other foot now in terms of like you had the Nexus being beaten up by everybody. Now everyone's like the sharks have turned to someone else's blood in that respect. So yes, I'm gonna get the point to Jamie on this one, because I think there's like that is the exact turning point the storyline needs in terms of like, okay, not only have you got Nexus as this existential threat to Cena, but then you got Punk in the mix. So how does that happen? But there's no link to the two yet. Because obviously in the real world there is one, but that doesn't happen until January. So we've got a long way to go until then. But I think both storylines are still well poised, by all accounts, going into Night of Champions. So, Jamie, I will start off with you on Night of
Which
Champions.
I'd like to point out, I have it in front of me, by the way. I have the timeline in front of me. Still missed out on Night and Champions what I was doing on my phases.
Well, then you've got a chance to catch up and think of
I
something.
didn't really listen to much of what he was saying because I was scribbling in the fucking lines here. Now the champions. Right, okay. Fuck. What was my plan for this? Shit, who did I have here?
Yeah. Now, as I said earlier, this is actually one of this is actually genuinely one of the first times you see any level of Nexus interference on the pay-per-views, where Wade Barrett puts himself in the six-pack elimination challenge and loses, which is fucking what were they doing? Like this is the one. This is the
That is a
booking
fucking
decision I forgot about. It was such a dumb idea. And believe me, they will not get any better when Caval wins NXT season 2 and he blows it on a fucking Dolph Ziggler match that he ends up losing. Um, honestly, people like why compete for the IC medal when the fucking world championship is fuck? Anyway, so obviously, now the champions is around. We now have NXT season 2 ended on both sides of the timeline. So Jamie, take it away.
Okay, so coming out of SummerSlam, Cena is obviously split in two different directions. On one hand, he has Wade Barrett, who
Sounds like a good
I'm not a fan
weekend.
of. Amen. Wade Barrett on one side, CM Punk on the other. So heading into Night of Champions, we have a triple threat: Cena, Punk, Barrett. Cena the babyface, Punk the heel, Barrett somewhere in the center of the two. Elsewhere, we will have Daniel Bryan defending the Intercontinental Championship against Rey Mysterio. We will
Nice.
have, should be, we have also got the Hart Dynasty. None too pleased about what happened to Bret Hart taking on Slater and Gabriel for the tag titles. At this point, I have less detail on the actual build to the show, so instead, on the show, Daniel Bryan is going to eke out a hard-fought win over Rey Mysterio. He's got that Daniel Bryan edge, but he is still, at his core, a white meat babyface.
Hmm.
He doesn't call for interference from the Nexus. He gets it done himself. But he does pick up the clean win and continues on as champion. Elsewhere, Slater and Gabriel are not nearly as upstanding and 100% take the interference. Skip Sheffield and Darren Young are going to interfere and help them to win the tag team titles. So effectively, it was 4-on-2.
Hmm.
In the main event, we have our triple threat, but Punk and Cena unbelievably focused on each other. Wade Barrett gets knocked down by both of them at the start, and they focus almost exclusively on each other. Barrett comes in, but keeps getting repelled back. It's very clear where the real heat in this is. Eventually, Punk takes out Cena with the go to sleep. Barrett grabs Punk, rolls him up. 1, 2, 3. Barrett escapes with the title because the two boys were way too focused on each other. Barrett and the Nexus celebrate. They now have the IC title, the tag titles, and the WWE title.
Yeah, they have essentially a clean sweep, which is interesting. Interesting little wrinkle there of having Punk being the one to eat the pin there. I think that's quite that'll be quite a different change now to what we would have expected from the Prime timeline as well, considering what eventually happens with Punk and the Nexus. But yeah, so basically clean sweep for Nexus on Jamie's timeline. And again, another interesting wrinkle with Brown Bryan kind of being the actual babyface of the group as well, which is quite I think that tracks quite well too. So I can see where I'm intrigued to see where you're going with that one. Right then, so on that one then, Aaron, let's hear your Night of Champions, which is definitely something you prepared for long in advance.
Yes. Well, I feel like I saved myself actually with this. I quite like how I actually fucking came up with this. So Barrett's beaten Cena, who we still haven't seen yet. He's beaten Barrett. He's beaten Batista, who we haven't seen since. He's definitely not off doing a movie. He's dead. Um.
True.
So basically, it becomes who the fuck can come next? Well, there's only one person he feels like he can do it, and that's Chris Jericho, his mentor from NXT season one.
Nice,
He is
nice.
he is going to be the person who's like, I've trained him. He knows everything he's learned is from me. I'll have his upper hand. Um, Jericho, I think at this point had the Big Show. Did he at this point have the Big Show with him?
No,
Or
I
was
don't.
it
I
just
think
before or
Jericho
after?
came
No.
before this. I think.
Yeah. So you have that. Jericho has muscle behind him in, we'll just say for now, the Big Show. And who's another big lad on that roster
You
I've
can
got?
argue he's catching the favor, maybe.
Yeah, we say I don't fucking know. Kane? Yeah, let's go Big Show and Kane. That makes sense.
But Kane would have been on
Um,
SmackDown. He would have been SmackDown champion at this point. So
did the brand split even matter at this point?
they
Like
were.
at this point, yeah, a lot.
Yeah, they actually did. Yeah, in
Did
fairness,
it?
yeah, they actually
Oh.
did care. Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
this is my
Church and
fucking
state.
storyline. I don't give a fuck. Anyway, so so Jericho has what is essentially Kane and Big Show next to him. Big Show and Barrett will have Mason Ryan and Tarver in his corner.
Okay.
WWE title. There's not a tag team match. They're just as effectively
Yeah,
to keep everything in check. Essentially,
gotcha. Yeah.
two meaty boys on each side. Two
Hmm.
big meaty boys on each side. Leading up to the show, Tarver and Young do win the tag belt,
Okay.
but that'll be used kind of as a fucking Freebird rule. Kind of all of them will defend it in a sense. It's just to have
Hmm.
the bodies there, essentially. Um, Seinfeld will win the US belt,
Oh, okay.
and Brian will keep his IC belt for a while. But much like what you've said, he's still a white meat baby face at heart. This is this will eventually lead to where we're going. This will slowly be the start of his turn, but he's still vicious. He still doesn't give a shit. He'll
Who,
still
who do you have
strangle
him
a
facing?
bitch.
Who do you have him facing in the champions?
I know the champions. I haven't faced an Edge.
Right. Okay.
I feel like that's a good one.
Yeah. Okay.
Edge won his own IC belt. He's a former IC champ. He can kind of
Hmm.
say, "You don't know what it means to be IC champion." Well, he can turn around and go, "I do know what it means to be IC champion. It's the workhorse belt." He can rack on fucking perfect and hard and early 90s fucking Shawn Michaels and
Hmm.
legends like. But then Edge will also come back and go, "Yeah, but you're nothing like the legends of The Rock and Austin and Triple H." It's a nice little fucking dynamic there between the two of them.
Hmm.
I can't remember who Michael McGillicuddy beats for the US belt.
So at
It's
the time,
really
the US champion would have actually been, funny enough, actually, according to Night of Champions 2010, The Miz was United States
The
champion.
Miz. There you go. So he
Hmm.
he'll beat the Miz for that
Okay.
pretty handedly. We said that'll be the one match that will have some shenanigans. But
Okay.
they know full well that they can leave. They trust Brian to beat any bitch that's put in front of him. To this point
Yeah.
now, he's set very much in. If Barrett were to leave tomorrow, he's quite clearly the leader.
Yeah.
But Barrett kind of keeps him in check a little bit to
Hmm.
not leave him go completely fucking feral on someone.
Fair. Yeah.
So after this, we have I've just run it down here at the side. We have Barrett beats Jericho. Clean
Hmm.
enough, but not so clean. But it's definitely enough to say I'm the better man. And you may have
Hmm.
taught me everything you know, but I had enough. in my back pocket to beat you anyway. Tarver, Young, and kind of whoever they feel like that week, tag team champions. As I said, Seinfeld will be the US champion. Daniel Bryan will have the IC belt. They basically hold everything.
Yeah.
Like they should have done in 2010, I feel.
Mm.
They should have done this from the get-go. This then will lead into who the fuck can beat him now? Who can beat him now? Well, yeah, definitely is Hell in a Cell next. Don't
It
you
is.
worry. And I've no idea. I've no idea who was on the poster. This just felt like the best booking decision I could possibly think of for a Hell in a Cell match.
Well,
And I don't know.
we will find out now
Hmm.
momentarily. So, one question I actually do have for you on your storyline, Aaron, is so you mentioned we have a few names of NXT season two at the moment. Now, I don't think Jamie has cashed in on his yet, which is interesting, but um, you've mentioned a couple of season two heads now on that. So, at this moment in time in Night of Champions, how many members of the Nexus are there? Have you merged
I
all of season two together, or have you picked and
This is
choose?
the final one, right? So I've given you the champions, and then as the muscle within the group, as the
Hmm.
fallbacks for any match that comes up, Mason Ryan, David Otunga, um, Young. What's his first name again? Darren Young,
Darren Young, yeah.
uh, Gabriel Tarver, and Husky Harris.
Okay.
This is fucking impenetrable at this point. There's
Hmm.
no way around this.
So
This is
so just to be clear, then, so the ones that you're keeping, you're not using is Riley, Caval, Watson, Cannon, Eli, and O'Neill.
Yeah, because they're all fucking pointless. He took in the two lads from season two, Ryan and Husky,
Hmm.
because they're big, beefy boys.
Right. So that's
And it
that's
adds to
the
it
reasoning.
adds
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
the yeah. So this
Okay.
is primo Nexus.
Hmm.
No one comes close to this Nexus. They've tried everyone and no one's worked. They
Hmm.
tried Cena, it failed. They tried Batista, it failed. They tried his mentor in Jericho, it fucking failed. No one's left.
Yeah.
Where do we go from here? That's effectively where we are right now. Um, it's it's probably the best way to go about it till we get to Hell in a Cell.
Hmm.
I'm still doing multi-man matches, obviously, but these multi-man matches will, I think, work out a little bit better with the way I have them set up.
Yeah.
Because I still have to do two of them. I mean, there's no way around it. So I feel like
Hmm.
I have a better kind of fucking idea here of what I'm gonna do. But yeah,
Yeah.
this is where we are basically.
But that's difficulty of booking kind of like big factions like this as well. Is that like obviously we're not saying that like seven people are kind of benched every month. They are doing stuff elsewhere on the card or on
Yeah, like I
your.
mean, once we get to bragging rights, it'll become
Hmm.
very clear, I think, on TV where the faction lines are.
Yeah.
Who's left from what group? Who's left from the WWE side? And then when it comes to Survivor Series, you very much have it clear. It's
Hmm.
fuzzy on the WWE side. Once it comes to Survivor Series, these are our fucking meaty baby faces. These are our white hot baby faces. These are the lads that are going to change shit and they're going to finally defeat the Nexus.
Hmm.
And there we go then. So yeah,
Okay.
that's
Fair enough then.
that's what I have.
Okay, right then. So on this one, so I am going to level up the playing field again and give this point to Aaron. Predominantly, I think what really kind of sold me here is that, like, okay, like obviously the brand split is not happening on your timeline for logistical reasons. I think it's fair to say. I presume, are you still doing the brand split on your side, Jamie? Are you?
Yep. Yep.
Okay, good. So that's going to be a very I'm going to be intrigued to see how that works for you long term, Aaron, because I think it works for you very well at Night of Champions because obviously you've got every piece of gold now on the Nexus at this
Yeah.
point in time. But you do have a pay-per-view coming up that is literally Raw versus SmackDown. So
Mhm.
intrigued to see how you work that out. But that'll be your challenge on that one. Whereas I
Like
think Jamie,
it
yeah,
like bragging rights will change a little bit. It becomes very much, I think, the brand split's gone. It's
yeah.
Nexus versus everyone. The brand split
So
is
are you
essentially the
making that a
Nexus and
conscious decision
everybody
on your
else.
side? So as WWE said,
Yes,
no more brand split, attack the Nexus.
until we're done with these fuckers,
Okay.
everyone's on the same side.
Okay,
Obviously,
I
everyone's
think
not on the same
that's an
side, but
important note in the story to say that like
yeah.
the WWE have elected to abandon the brand split until the Nexus are defeated. So that's an important note, I think. considering that like you're, as I said, you mentioned the faction there now that has 10 people, so that is a that
Yeah,
should, I think that kind of solidifies the threat, the Nexus is a
yeah.
threat, considering, yeah, okay, fair enough. But yeah, no, I'm going to get the point to Aaron. I think mainly because, like I said, everyone, I think we are at the middle of the storyline, and having all the belts in the Nexus makes an awful lot of sense at this point,
Mhm.
because this should be the height of their danger. We've already established that Barrett is a bit untouchable as champion. There is very little chinks in the armor yet. We can see it in the tag teams, perhaps with, but obviously the Freebird rules kind of protects them a little bit, so that's smart on the Nexus side. Now, how they wrangle the Freebird rules, I think that could be down to a bit of plot spackle, but again, we have a lawyer in the midst. I'm sure something can be said about that.
Well, it'll
And
very much go the Nexus of the tag team champions.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
We never
exactly.
said
Yeah,
who from the Nexus of the tag team champions. The Nexus are tag team champions. And
yeah,
if let's say Tarfa gets injured on the waters, like it doesn't matter. Should be Mason Ryan there. He's
yeah,
tag team
exactly.
champion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so
So yeah, so then you have like three new additions to the faction. So now you have essentially 11 members. So which is in fairness that the Nexus does expand a good bit anyway.
mm,
So yeah, that's kind of that tracks a little bit, and nice to see Joe Henning actually getting a bit of booking. Is that nice? Like,
mhm.
the difference a promo makes, lads.
Oh, he's
Like
coming. He's coming.
like Aaron in Aaron's timeline, that promo was like fucking the Tempest. It was the fucking greatest soliloquy you've ever heard. But he still has that fucking weird speech impediment that kind of puts you off. But it doesn't matter. It's
I
fine.
think what we'll
So
say is at this point, right, is that he was basically told shut the fuck up and fight. Don't talk.
that works. To be fair,
Don't
that
talk.
works. Yeah. Yeah. No talk, please. You're Mr. Perfect Son. Fucking act like it, please.
Yes.
So with that then, so Aaron, you've built up Hell in a Cell quite a bit here. So it seems only right that you're going to take us in first into what is an exceptionally tedious time for WWE, where Hell in a Cell became a gimmick. And
Mhm.
I will indulge you here. Do you know who is on the poster for Hell in a Cell 2010?
I can't remember.
Well, it was actually The Undertaker, because the main event of that of the canon Hell in a Cell pay-per-view was Kane versus The Undertaker in the Hell in a Cell match for the World Heavyweight Championship. Remarking of this is the first time we actually see the Nexus in the main timeline. Wade Barrett defeats John Cena, not in Hell in a Cell, but this was the match that got John Cena to join the Nexus. And we also got Orton versus Sheamus as well in Hell in a Cell, but we don't mind that here. So we do actually have a bit of Nexus content in Hell in a Cell here. So Aaron, take it away. How does your pay-per-view change?
Right. I'm not going to focus too much on the mid card. Just indulge me. Brian's putting on fucking clinics with your Jerichos, your punks, your edges.
So
He
are we gonna say Brian Jericho here then?
will say Brian Jericho for the IC belt this time, or Brian Punk. We say the US
Ooh,
belt doesn't appear on the show. Um,
okay.
he's I'm gonna be tedious, even though I have mentioned it before. He's hurt. You can't expect to fight a man to hurt, a hurt man to fight. David Otunga uses his Harvard Law degree. They're fucking not wrestling this pay per view. The Usos will try and get the tag belts back. They'll fail miserably,
Okay.
because of well the numbers game. So this leaves us with the main event. Who will come back? So Vince has tried now everything.
Hmm.
He's tried everyone. Who the fuck am I gonna get to defeat him? And Barrett starts beating down on him, calling him an old man. He has no time. He can't do it anymore. You have no one. You never had anyone. And for the first time in the storyline, Triple H's music hits.
Hmm. Okay.
Because the prevailing thought is that, I think from most people, Hell in a Cell is Undertaker's thing. It's not.
Yes.
It never really has been. He's partaken in iconic matches in Hell in a Cell,
Yeah.
but he very rarely wins them.
That's true. Yes.
The Hell in a Cell is Triple H's fucking field. It always has been. I think he has a near perfect record in Hell in a Cell matches,
Hmm.
bar Mania 27, and maybe one more. I think is the only two he's only maybe two, maybe three he's lost in all the Hell in a Cell matches he's had. So this is no one gets in. We tried a steel cage, it didn't fucking work. I tried Batista, who was fresh off of just quitting, and I used him as a mercenary, and he tried to pick you all off. It didn't work. He still got over me. I tried Jericho with two of the biggest fuckers in wrestling. It still didn't work. So now
Hmm.
you're getting locked in a Hell in a Cell. You have to win now. If you want to be the champion of my company, you have to be him, the family man. Don't beat up the father-in-law. It's Triple H, Barrett, Hell in a Cell, WWE Championship. They have a fucking fight for it.
Mm.
No one can get in because the roster is fairly united in getting over them. So most of the roster, it won't be a lumberjack match, but it'll be very much enough of them around the side to keep the Nexus away,
Yeah, it's kind of like it's
essentially.
almost like a moat of wrestlers almost.
Yeah, you're gonna
Yeah,
have all the bigger lads they had in the roster that time, which was, big boys like Jack Swagger and Finley, Drew
Cali
McIntyre
obviously,
be
Big
around the
Show.
edge,
Yeah,
Kali, Big Show, like all the really big fuckers
yeah.
to match what they have on the other side. They all have a fucking fight.
Mm.
It's brutal, it's bloody. Triple H thinks he has him, but because it's a Hell in a Cell, technically it's not cheating. Barrett will hit him in the balls. Bloodied, bleeding, and gets a relatively clean win over him.
Mm.
Where the fuck do we go from here? Why we know we go from here. Also, where the fuck is Jamie gone?
Jamie's laptop died on him, so he's gonna join us
Oh
now.
Jesus!
Yeah.
Right, okay.
So I'm gonna get myself a drink while I'm waiting. So
Yo,
Jamie, talk us through what's your Hell in a Cell looking like?
So, in keeping with real life, at this point, we're going to lose some members. Michael Tarver was released, I believe, for legal issues, but he's out the gap. Skip Sheffield has picked up an injury.
Okay.
Also, in the weeks following Night of Champions, Daniel Bryan defends his Intercontinental Championship against Evan Bourne. They put on a spectacular indie match. And at the end of it, almost out of instinct, Daniel Bryan shakes his hand. This doesn't go down well, because you're either Nexus or you're against us.
oh yeah, fuck yeah, that
So,
was the catchphrase. Jeez.
yep. So Daniel Bryan gets himself a beating. But there's a replacement waiting in the wings. It's the winner of season 2 of NXT, Caval. So at Hell in a Cell, we're getting Caval using his title shot, much like real life for the IC title. But it means that on pay-per-view, we're getting Bryan Danielson against Loki.
I mean, to be fair, to be fair,
Elsewhere, from Night of Champions, because we realized where the real heat was, the pay-per-view's Hell in a Cell match is going to be John Cena against CM Punk, with the
hmm
winner becoming #1 contender. Elsewhere, in a match to try and cement him at the level he's at, but also bring up his opponent. It's one of those ones where the title match isn't the main event, so you don't have to go as heavy on the star power. So instead, I'm giving Wade Barrett an opponent that can put over what he can do in the ring. We're getting Wade Barrett against Sheamus
lovely.
because they were good friends long before any of this. Sheamus is technically a former champion, but also kind of needs something more to keep him at that level. So here it is.
Mm,
Elsewhere, we also have, I've very much also running with the Nexus is doing the Freebird thing,
yeah.
Freebird rule. So we have the Hart Dynasty coming back again for a tag title match. This time they lose to the Primetime Players because Titus O'Neil has also joined the Nexus to replace Michael Tarver.
Oh yeah, Titus O'Neil was on NXT. Fuck yeah, I forgot about
Actually, season
He
2, yeah.
was.
that.
The other. Oh shit, no. I didn't lose Sheffield yet. Right back lives. But otherwise, yep, that's it. Daniel Bryan, now liberated from Nexus, defeats Caval, but I'm giving them like 25 minutes.
Mm,
This is to kind of signify that a change is a coming. And they have an indie match. Wade Barrett and Sheamus, banger. Um, hard hitting, put over the two of them. Wade Barrett wins clean. He also, at this point, introduces the bullhammer.
Oh, interesting.
And then in our Hell in a Cell main event, because we're not quite at the pipe bomb yet, and because we need some fucking rage to build that, Punk is doing the job for Cena. Big baby face Cena wins and becomes #1 contender for Wade Barrett.
Hmm.
And that
Okay.
is Hell in a Cell.
That's Hell in a Cell. Okay. Do you know what? There's some nice stuff on both cards, I have to say. I am loving Daniel Bryan just putting on wrestling clinics on both sides of the timeline, but in two very different contexts.
You
Like,
use what you
I,
have.
yeah, like on one side now, obviously the face turn is very evident now on Jamie's side, and he's like, I think I know where you're going now with Daniel Bryan on this one, I'm hopeful, I'm optimistic because I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. But Daniel Bryan on Aaron's side is an absolute menace at the moment.
Yeah, still a
Because
menace.
he is putting on some absolutely fantastic matches and matches that like genuinely you would have loved to seen at the time. Like I think you were weighing between Jericho or Punk here on the for the IC title match, but Jericho's a great
Yeah.
shout here at the moment. I think like Brian Punk would be a bigger match later on, I think. Um, but like I said, like it's same with SummerSlam or same with Night of Champions as well. There's some really really nice stuff going on with Daniel Bryan at the minute, so I'm happy with that. Um, and I'm now looking at the kind of the main events as well. I'm gonna give it to Aaron because I think the main event. The main event is the one that kind of catches it for me. I understand kind of Jamie's point of view that the heat is where Punk and Cena at the minute because like logistically someone has to step up to take down the Nexus. That's where we're at right now. And I think it kind of makes sense that there's a proverbial lull with Wade Barrett himself because now he's starting to solidify as a serious like champion. He's not just a flash in the pan anymore. So there's a natural lull just with his booking at the moment, whereas Aaron's has peaked a little bit, or peaking I should say, with having just an escalation of like opponents. Like we've gone with Cena, it didn't work. We tried Batista, it didn't work. We've done Triple H now. And Triple H in Hell in a Cell is understandably a bigger danger and a bigger menace than it should
Yeah.
than the way Barrett should be able to handle. But the fact that Barrett will find a way to win makes him look more legitimate champion as well because you
Yes.
can
That
actively
was
say the Nexus didn't have anything to do with it.
yeah.
Um, so I'm gonna give that point to Aaron because I think that's a massive because there's an asterisk with every single one of those with one of the matches so far. You've had one with Cena where like yeah sure there was a bit of silly boogers with it. There was definitely shenanigans with the Batista match. There was definitely shenanigans with the Jericho match. But with the Triple H one, that's a real feather in Wade Barrett's cap. And I think that's where like you go like, okay, we actually do genuinely need to reassess here how we get rid of this Nexus because on Aaron's timeline right now, the Nexus is an 11-man stable.
Yes.
Whereas with Jamie, I can your one I think is gonna is I think long term gonna pay off a little bit because I can see there's a few chinks there starting to develop and losing Brian at this moment I think is a good shout. So I'd like to see how this goes now for both of you. So with that in mind, we move on then to bragging rights. Now bragging rights in the real world was a complete bowl of wank as a pay-per-view. It was a complete fucking waste of time. Like literally a Raw versus SmackDown match, like themed pay-per-view, right before an inherently Raw versus
What was
SmackDown
the
themed
SmackDown
pay-per-view, a
pay-per-view? Yeah.
Survivor Series.
Yeah.
Fuck me. But the whole point, the whole idea of this was that you had like like basically the mid cards fight for their jobs between Team Raw and Team SmackDown. And I'm gonna call out the names of the Bragging Rights Trophy match, and you will tell me how terrible this is. Team SmackDown was represented by Alberto Del Rio, The Big Show, Edge, Jack Swagger, Kofi Kingston, Rey Mysterio, and Tyler Rex. Then on Team
Tyler
Raw,
Rex, god damn.
Tyler Rex. Yeah. Lesser spotted Tyler Rex. On Team Raw, we had CM Punk, Ezekiel Jackson, John Morrison, The Miz, R-Truth, Sheamus, and Santino Morella. So, not to say that that's a bad idea, but so um So then, with that, then obviously the main event then was Wade Barrett versus Randy Orton with Cena in Barrett's corner, and Cena almost immediately like breaking the shackles of the Nexus in that match as well, which would lead us then on to Survivor Season TLC. So obviously this is going to be a bit of a difference for both of your timelines because one person has gone for a brand split, the other one has not. So we'll start off with the brand split on this one, Jamie. What is your bragging rights looking like?
So, despite the Raw and SmackDownness of it all,
Hmm.
we're still going to go Nexus versus WWE.
Okay.
SmackDown's kind of getting left out. Nexus mainly on Raw, but very much the main angle going on. So the big multi-man match is Nexus against, again, a version of Team WWE. Again, a little bit underwhelming. But the whole purpose of this is so I would have other things going on at this point. I'd be putting a lot of focus on the Mark Henry Hall of Pain
Oh, okay.
because
Oh,
that's
okay.
happening right now on
Yeah.
SmackDown. I'd be putting, I'd be, yeah, like I'd be trying to nearly, I don't want the Nexus thing to fizzle out too quickly. So this is more of the team WWE put together to face them are
Hmm.
David Hart Smith, Tyson Kidd, because again, the Hart dynasty have had their issues with the Nexus for the last couple of months.
Oh, yeah, they
John
did.
Cena, Evan Bourne, R-Truth, Big Show, Rey Mysterio, and Daniel Bryan.
Hmm.
It's a relatively underwhelming team, especially given the threat that the Nexus have become. But the point I'm trying to make with this match is that as bits are lost, Wade Barrett is crafting it to become slightly more militant, slightly more singularly focused towards his benefit. So Team Nexus is Wade Barrett, Heath Slater, Justin Gabriel, Caval, a debuting Curtis Axel,
Hmm.
because when he debuts, we'll have him do a promo, possibly with Otunga doing the talking for him, and talk about how this company tried to take away his legacy. They tried to take away his birthright. He is not only the son of Mr. Perfect, he is the grandson of Larry the Axe Hennig. This man is third generation. So we big up the Curtis Axel thing from the jump and try and hide some of his shortcomings behind the fact that there is a stable around him. We have Darren Young and Titus O'Neil establishing themselves as the primetime players. So they start using the gimmick while still being in Nexus. At this point, we're trying to give everyone their own individual personality
Hmm.
because it's time for them to stop just being a mob, but being recognizable characters within the mob. And Skip Sheffield starts feeling hungry. Um, he
I bet
starts
he does.
that shit. So we're seeing the birth of Ryback. And yep, in that match, Team NXT or Team Nexus go over.
Hmm.
They're a unit. The WWE side is not unified. They can't stand up to them, and once the weak links are taken out, the rest are worn down through sheer numbers. And the Nexus stands tall,
Hmm.
and that is bragging rights.
Okay. And yeah, obviously that envelops the titles then as well because I think most of the champions are in that match, so it's a fairly top heavy main event then, isn't it? That's
Yep.
it. That's an epic main event like. Okay, interesting. Aaron, then what's your bragging rights looking like?
My bragging rights is the same. It's straight up and Nexus versus WWE. It's this is this is it. Um, so WWE has tried with the Star, the Mercenary, the Mentor, the Big Boy, and Triple H. So they've basically gone with the company picks.
Hmm.
But in this case, that's not worked. So when you can't go corporate, you go with a Punk. So the main event for this one is Punk versus Barrett. That's where Punk
Okay.
comes into things. Um, it's a fight. The he's proven he can beat anyone, but he'll still take the easy way out if he needs to. So he will get some of the lads to come out and take control, beat him up. It'll be a little bit fairer. It won't be as simple as they hope, but he'll still come out with the victory.
Hmm.
The tag team match, on the other hand, will be Brian because he's second in command. Atonga, sorry, no, not Atonga. What the fuck? That's wrong. No, it is Atonga. Brian, Atonga, Ryan, Mason Ryan, Tarver, and Husky Harris against Team WWE. Now, Team WWE will see a returning John Cena,
Okay.
Edge, who's still in a bit of a fucking squabble with Brian,
Mm-hmm.
and then basically the heads of the table before the head of the table becomes the thing in Vince, Triple H, yeah, and here's the big surprise for the end of it: a returning Shane McMahon, who comes
Okay.
back 4 years earlier than he did originally, because even he sees shit's starting to go fucking sideways now. We need we need to be a family again. He comes back. They're too much. Vince gets fucking battered. Shane puts up a fight, but Brian will very much take him out. Um, Mason Ryan will kind of incapacitate Triple H to a point, and Brian will get the pin over John Cena in his returning match back
Hmm.
because it'll very much play in it. Is his head in this? Has Cena finally come up against people or a person he can't beat? Is this it? So again, it's a bit more ropey this time when how it happens. Punk nearly had him, if not for the interference. He was the closest anyone's ever come. They finally nearly had him, and those fuckers got the backup. They're an 11-man team. They'll always have the bodies. So
Yeah.
they have to. The tag team match is a little bit more simplistic, but there is a little bit of infighting amongst a whole lot of them. Just a little bit. No one's kind of on the same page. They're starting to become a little bit like, no, it's my time to shine. It's my time to shine. They eventually get it out, but it is a bit of a struggle. But they eventually come to a cohesive unit. But this is the start of the it's all well and it's all well as it. It's all
All's
well.
love and all's fair in love and war. Yeah.
There we go. Why the fuck am I
All's well that
my
ends well.
brain?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. All fair enough. Everything basically is working out, or is
Okay.
it? Are we seeing the chinks and the chains? The chinks and the chains? That's not fucking right.
Chinks in the armor, dear.
There we go.
Yes. That was a bit of a drebbing that was. Like, finally the cows have come home to roost.
A little
But that
anti-Asian racism there.
Yeah.
but there's that's where we are.
Okay.
WWE
All
are
right.
finally getting. They may have lost, but they think they finally have it.
Hmm.
We've
Okay.
seen we've seen some of them work out. There's one person missing from this that they think could actually do it.
Hmm.
Who's that one person going to be? Someone who hasn't popped up yet, but when Series comes around, it'll become abundantly clear who Vince picks to be
Hmm.
the last member of his Survivor Series team.
All
All
right
right?
then.
Just
Yeah.
remember, my roster split doesn't exist,
Yes,
technically.
I think I know where you're going with this one. And if I'm not mistaken, did they make a fuss about this in the real world? I can't remember. I'll have to have a look. But yes,
Also, can I just say one
yeah.
thing as well? Have you seen this, Jamie?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, just
Very
I like
nice.
showing this on camera now. I haven't taken it up in a while, so I'm gonna keep this on
I
my
saw a
shoulder for a bit
picture.
because it.
It
Oh,
looks
you saw
cool
the
in
picture,
person.
yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you should see it actually in person. It's a
Oh my
fucking
god.
lovely belt. Yeah, yeah.
Well,
Anyway, I
did
feel like
always
I'm
like
gonna
that
win
one.
this, so I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. So we'll put that down there because I'm finally think I'm gonna actually win one of these goddamn things. So
You really shouldn't speak until I actually give it the point, Aaron.
no, I think overall I'm winning this. I think overall I'm actually gonna win this.
Fucking
But anyway.
fucking hubris of him, honestly. Like, right then. So, But it's a good thing I actually wrote down my point before you said you started chatting shit because I am giving bragging rights to Aaron on this one. I think what really sells me on it is separate is I think having the strength in numbers has worked out for you for bragging rights here at the moment. Now, the one
Yeah,
thing I will say is you've kind of played your Survivor Series match already. So I'm very curious as to how you're actually gonna do the same match again.
I actually haven't. I'd
I
like to
know
point that
this
fucking
is
out.
why I want to, this is
Mm.
why I want to hear this is why I want to hear your Survivor Series match because I'm very curious about it. But having Barrett in a separate match with CM Punk, I think kind of cements it for me because the Jamie's match is solid. It's busy. There's a lot of stuff going on, and the big positive from Jamie's storyline is Brian defecting to the other side, and is very very clearly. I would say gonna be for me. It kind of looked like it's the turning point of the feud in that respect because Brian is obviously was molded by the Nexus and in a weird way couldn't be the anti-Nexus in that respect. So I like where this is going. You can see the kind of the cogs turning there. I think it's just kind of unfortunate because well, you have rightfully a eight versus eight fucking massive bragging rights match going on between Nexus and WWE, but you are missing Punk versus Wade Barrett. And I think that's is just having Barrett separate there and letting them have a championship match, and again just showing that there is a serious contender here going on. So yeah, I'm gonna give the point to Aaron on for bragging rights, but Aaron, you now get first twist on Survivor Series. So if you want a bit of context in terms of the real life Survivor Series, we didn't have a WWE versus Nexus match on the card. In relatively speaking, the Nexus had a tag team match for the actual tag team belts, but the actual Survivor Series match had nothing to do with it. It was all a SmackDown based booking. It was Mysterio versus Del Rio, and the less said about that, the fucking better, to be honest, because Tyler Rex was somehow in this fucking match again. What the fuck is wrong with SmackDown 2010? But you had other bits and bobs as well. But the main event ultimately was Randy Orton defeating Wade Barrett for the championship. John Cena was special guest referee. That's where Cena freed himself from the Nexus. So, and then obviously
Which
we know what
road
happens
am
in
I
TLC.
walking down tonight?
Exactly. So Aaron, how is your Survivor Series different to the real world?
So, after the last one, they finally think they have them. They didn't get there, but Vince finally, well, Shane. Vince is gone for a bit. Um, Shane is in control for a little bit. He can't wrestle because he's too injured.
Hmm.
So he says at Survivor Series, Barrett won't defend his championship at Survivor Series. It will be Barrett, Brian, McGillicuddy, Ryan, and Tarver, who will act as tag team champions, against John Cena, Jan Cena, CM Punk, Jericho, and Edge. All people who have been in this already. And the last person he gets to do it is the one who's been by Vince's side since the early 90s. The only one he feels that is powerful enough to finally end the torment. You want to know where I'm going with this? I hope.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus. Undertaker. It's the only fucking person he thinks can do it. And that's where we land at the pay-per-view. Um, Taker will very quickly, to assert dominance, take out the tag champs. Very quickly take out the tag champs. They're done. It immediately basically goes to a 5-on-3. This is the first time since they started that the number game aren't with them. The rest of the Nexus have been told if they even look on the outside, they're fired. Everyone's fired. They can't touch the outside. And Shane is not stupid. He also says, anyone that comes out and helps you, anyone, this is a fight. This is your 5 best against my 5 best. No one is allowed fucking interfere. If anyone comes out for any team, they're fucking done. They're fired on the spot. He's basically giving Barrett no other choice here, and Nexus no other choice but to actually have a fucking match. So McGillicuddy will come in. He'll take out Jericho. Edge will take out McGillicuddy. So that leaves us with it'll be now we're down to 4-2. Brian will come in. He'll take out Punk, and then we're left with Barrett and Bryan, who are definitely the two big guys from Team
Mm.
Nexus against Taker and Cena. Bryan will get taken out by Cena and lose it with a 2-on-1. Can Cena do it? Taker's behind him. Barrett takes out Taker. So he's just like, this is Cena's fucking moment. He's been squabbling in his own head. Can he actually do it? And he does. For the
Okay.
first time since June, Barrett
Yes.
suffers a clean pin in the ring against John Cena. And he's only lucky at the fact that it was a tag team match that he didn't lose the belt. So it
Mm.
sets up TLC. And it sets it up perfectly in my eyes. In the midst of all of this, the cheers for Bryan are becoming abundantly clear now. To the point where it's pissing off Wade Barrett.
Yeah.
And even Bryan is starting to get a bit of a smile on his face. Still a vicious fucker, mind. But, I mean, he can't lose his viciousness. But he is still very much, he's noticing them. It's pissing off Barrett. It kind of is slowly starting to creep in. So now they've lost. His fucking right hand man is starting to get turned by the fans. McGillicuddy got knocked out way too easy. The tag team champions got knocked out way too easy. It'll lead into the next point of where we are, where he'll eventually pick. He needs to start trimming the fucking fat hair
Mm.
because he thought he knew who his best was, but obviously he picked wrong. And
Mm.
there we go.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, just feels like a nice full circle moment there. Again, appropriate with the Undertaker. I think this would have been his 20th or 22nd on Survivor Series, so it was a bit of connective tissue there as well. So seems appropriate he was tactically deployed, and is a vast improvement on the prime timeline when he was buried alive by his brother on bragging rights. So you can't say fairer than that.
Yeah.
Not just his brother.
Oh, I know.
We'll get to that.
Indeed. So Jamie, let's snap back then to your Survivor Series. What is your pay-per-view shaping up as?
So, coming out of bragging rights, Wade Barrett is convinced he's got this shit sewn up. They seem unstoppable. They have all the belts. No one can touch them. They're doing great. Slater and Gabriel lose a tag team match. The rest of the Nexus is informed that they're turning on them. We do not accept weakness. They beat the living shit out of the two boys, and they are out of the Nexus to be replaced by Ezekiel Jackson
Hmm.
and Mason Ryan. We've brought two muscleheads to the party. So, as we build towards Survivor Series, we're doing this one more time. WWE versus Nexus. Only this time it's made clear that the Nexus have all the belts. The
Hmm.
Nexus seemingly can't be touched. And that's why we have the team of the Nexus with Wade Barrett, David Otunga getting in the ring, Caval, Curtis Axel, Darren Young, Titus O'Neil, Ezekiel Jackson, Mason Ryan. It's a more dangerous unit than what had started out with. Everyone there is a killer to some degree. And then Team WWE, because they're finally taking the problem seriously, will be made up of who we're going to be putting over as the future of aerial combat, Justin Gabriel. We're going to have the redneck everyman who's just built for sympathy, Heath Slater. We're going to have the blue chip babyface, Daniel Bryan. Three former Nexus members will form the start of Team WWE.
Hmm.
The team will be rounded out by John Cena, Edge, Chris Jericho, and Randy Orton. We're finally getting main eventers.
Hmm.
the match begins, and we have Wade Barrett standing in the ring with Heath Slater. And Heath Slater is like, "Why did you kick me out? I loved you. What the hell, man? What the hell?" He eats a bull hammer. He then gets scooped up and eats another bull hammer. He gets thrown to the corner. We tag in Mason Ryan. Mason Ryan fucking dominates him. He tags in Ezekiel Jackson. Ezekiel Jackson fucks him up. They tag Titus O'Neil. He does a tag finish with Darren Young. Caval hits the double foot stomp, and eventually Curtis Axel comes in and catches him with the perfect plex. 1, 2, 3. All of the Nexus had a go, but Heath Slater is out. Justin Gabriel,
Love it. Poor
Team
fucker.
WWE are at a disadvantage.
Mm.
Look, he's built for sympathy.
Yeah, to be fair.
But all of his former brothers took a shot at him. It was hopefully he'll be a babyface after that. Similar with Justin Gabriel, but what we start seeing is Gabriel manages to tag Brian. Brian manages to tag Orton. Orton tags. What we start seeing is WWE are finally learning. And despite the fact that the Nexus is a unit, WWE starts acting like a unit. When Mason Ryan comes in trying to attack Edge, he eats an RKO out of nowhere.
Mm.
When Jackson comes in trying to stop that, he takes a code breaker. Someone else comes in, gets the spear. Someone else, attitude adjustment. And from that point on, all 7 remaining members of WWE survive and eventually ends, much like Aaron's, with John Cena picking up the win over Wade Barrett. John Cena is still #1 contender after beating CM Punk in Hell in a Cell.
Mm.
We are now setting up TLC, Wade Barrett against John Cena. He's just taken the pin from him. And in this reality, in my booking of it, we still haven't seen Wade Barrett against John Cena in a one-on-one match.
That's true. That's very, very true. And appropriately enough, that's still so so you have the survivors of the match being everyone but Slater on the WWE side. They finally
Yep.
kind of come to the title. Okay, wow. So that is a major, major difference in the two Survivor Series matches because Aaron's one goes right down to the wire, whereas essentially WWE whitewashed Nexus for all intents and purposes. Like it's not a clean sheet by all respects, but it's certainly an annihilate and demolition of the Nexus on that one. Um, wow. Okay. Hmm. That's a tricky one to say. It is a tricky one for me because I think the tactical deployment of the Undertaker was a good show from Aaron.
Oh
Um,
shit!
and
I
and
should
oh,
also
sorry.
point out elsewhere on the card, in this reality, it won't be bragging rights. It will be Survivor Series where Kane is taking on the Undertaker, and Kane buries the Undertaker alive, and the Nexus help him.
Oh, okay, right.
Oh,
So, oh, fair. Okay, that's an interesting
So
wrinkle.
much like reality, just a month later.
I think it happened on Bragging Rights anyway. I don't think it happened. I think it was yeah, it would have happened on Bragging Rights anyway. So, but you have it on happening in Survivor
But I'm
Series
having
instead.
it at Survivor Series, yeah.
Okay, deadly. Yeah, to be actually fair, it should have been on Survivor Series. I don't know why they put it on Bragging Rights. It's like they wanted to try and sell the show, which when it was shit. So anyway, does that affect it? I would say I am swaying, even regardless of the Barry Live match, I was swaying towards Jamie's one because I think at this point the WWE side, I think on both sides really, they both need a bit of catharsis in terms of they finally need to clock a win against the Nexus and against Barrett in particular. But I'd say in terms of the kind of the narrative, the alarm bells are ringing more on Jamie's side than it would be on Aaron's because you can understand with the Undertaker being deployed and Punk and Jericho and Edge and Cena, that is essentially WWE's best, sans Orton, Triple H around the time. If you were to expand it to 7v7 or 8v8 like Jamie
yeah.
did, you would include Orton and The Undertaker in that respect anyway. But I think it's actually more telling that WWE beat the Nexus with Nexus members. I think that's the kicker for me is the fact that like Slater and okay, Slater wasn't much of a factor, but Gabriel and Bryan at the very least were able to I suppose, had that kind of Nexus influence on WWE. That there was like you were saying, like, let's just cut them off the pass with RKO's and spears and like let's just fuck them up essentially. It's go like it's fucking the Warriors come out the fucking Playboys, kind of way. Like, um,
Yeah.
but I think that little flavor of Nexus on the WWE side, I think, is what's given me the narrative difference there, because ultimately that is kind of what WWE needed. As you said, they weren't really taking it seriously because the three kind of multi-man matches at that point were they were not the best WWE matches teams. As I said, like who knows what other storylines were in the ether around this time. They were obviously more pertinent for the people involved. But now it's like, okay, Survivor Series, the Rumble's coming up, WrestleMania's coming up. We need to deal with the Nexus. So there's an actual reason to get rid of them now. So what's very interesting now is that we're heading into TLC. Obviously, Aaron's leading 4-3 here, um, and we have, as it were, a possibility of. It looks like we are both setting up for Cena versus Barrett on both sides. Would it be fair in saying that?
Yeah,
Uh, I think
Say that
so,
again,
aren't
sorry.
we?
I think so.
You're both
Barrett
setting up for
Cena.
Cena. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think we both
Okay.
have. Yeah, I have that. Yeah.
Yeah. So what? So seeing that we have the same main event, right? I'm going to start off with Jamie on this one. So I want to see how how your match is going to play out and what else is on the card. So Jamie, take it away.
Okay. So on the undercard, we have the primetime players defending the tag titles on behalf of the Nexus against the Usos. And the Usos win.
Hmm.
So the primetime players get the fuck out of Dodge because they know how this ends.
Yes.
So they eject themselves from the Nexus and do it in a very fun way. Maybe they go to SmackDown. Um,
I thought you were going to say make it go to Vegas or something. It's like let's have it in a fun way. Let's go to Vegas.
maybe,
Let's
maybe.
go on the pisser. Fuck it. Let's go.
The I would have a series of other matches, so I'd like to have Caval taking on Justin Gabriel
Hmm.
because we're going to try and get everyone over. Um, Ezekiel Jackson or Mason Ryan against poor Heath Slater on like the pre show. I'm going to get that little fucker over through pure sympathy.
I love it.
He's getting eaten though. One of the bigger
Ah,
matches on the TLC card is going to be Daniel Bryan against Curtis Axel, with Curtis Axel putting over it big that his dad basically made the title in the early 90s.
Hmm.
And in the match, thanks to help from whoever didn't kill Heath Slater, Curtis Axel picks up the Intercontinental title. He will be using David Otunga as a mouthpiece and will hopefully hide a lot of his flaws. We're giving him the Mr. Perfect push. Let's
Hmm.
see how it
Let's
goes.
see how it goes. Yeah. Okay.
But he becomes the Intercontinental Champion, and Bryan is freed up for other things. And then in our main event, we have the TLC match Wade Barrett against John Cena. And at this point, things are a little shaky to say the least, despite the fact that Axel wins the IC title. And the primetime players losing the tag titles was also predicated from the fact that they lost, and they lost quite badly at Survivor Series. So Barrett was hella pissed after that,
Hmm.
and things got real fucking strict. It's why as soon as the primetime players lose, they know they need to get the fuck out of there.
Hmm.
Wade Barrett becomes a full blown dictator. He's sharpening this down. It's all become about him. Certain people are thriving, a la Caval. Um, Others not so much the fun loving primetime players. But Jackson and Ryan are also like that mindless muscle. So Caval, Jackson, and Ryan are more or less his core around him. With Otunga being
I
the
see. I
wise
see what
man.
you did there, by the way.
But Wade Barrett in the match against Cena wins. He retains his WWE title. In their first one-on-one match, Wade Barrett beats John Cena clean.
Wow. Okay.
No, 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 we're going to throw the match out. It's a TLC match, and they're beating the shit out of each other all over the arena when they get to the staging area. Only this time it's Wade Barrett knocks down John Cena. John Cena climbs in under his lovely board to not kill him, and Wade Barrett pulls all of the chairs down and buries John Cena alive under the pile of chairs.
Hmm.
Returns to the ring and holds up his title. He doesn't beat John Cena, he destroys John Cena. And at that point, all the remaining members of the Nexus come out and basically bow down to him because he's proven he is the guy. TLC
So,
ends with a refortified Nexus.
interesting. Interesting. So, so you're saying so at the moment, so the Nexus now essentially is a five-person group again. Would that be fair to say? So you have Barrett, you got Caval, Ryan, Jackson, and Axel. Would that be fair? Or is there still one or two in the ether left?
And Otunga.
And Otunga. Okay. Yeah, I know I was
Yeah.
missing one. Okay. Okay, so that's interesting. So we've sent it down back now to six. So that's interesting. But like again, the numbers game is actually kind of intriguing for me here to see how this works. But Barr winning the match against Cena now, that is a very big change in the timeline, and quite frankly, a nice change as well. I'm already enjoying the booking there. Aaron, what is your TLC looking like? Because you have seen it coming in now in the ascendancy, much like on the other timeline, but you have a decision to make on the main event and on all the other matches. What have you got for us?
So Barrett is fuming that they lost. Kind of around the same way you're doing it, Jamie. He does turn into a bit of a dictator. He gets paranoid. Why didn't the rest of them save us? Where the fuck were they? He's 11 men on this team, and what? Four of them were in the ring with him, but the rest of them couldn't help? What the fuck? So eventually he decides the Nexus is draped in gold, and that's all it deserves to be in this team. He gets Barrett, McGillicuddy, Bryan, and how he keeps two for the tag belts, which is Harrison Young, and they beat the shit out of the rest of them. They're gone. These are the only men he needs by his side when he faces John Cena at TLC in a TLC match. This is all he needs now. This is all he'll ever want. This is all he'll ever fucking need. Bryan is at this point kind of a face. He's got Punk in his ear saying you don't need them. You're the American Dragon. Ooh, you showing you're better than all of them. You're a demon. You're a fighter. You're an absolute monster. You're holding one of the greatest championships in wrestling. What are you doing here? McGillicuddy is losing constantly. Did Barrett make a mistake? Possibly. And the Hart Dynasty are back in the tag title picture. And they're slowly starting to pick away at the other two lads. One gets a victory over Harris, the other one loses to Young. Did he make the right choices? His past is coming back to haunt him because as the weeks go on, Barrett is dealing with Cena, and Cena's just like, I'm back. I'm back. I'm Cena. I'm back. But just in case if you try any shit, you've pissed off too many people. And with that, it comes back around again full circle where he's up at the top, stands at the top of the thing, and he dips his head. Every member he's kicked out of the Nexus comes back in and beats the shit out of Barrett. To turn around and basically get their own back on him. It's karma, effectively. Against the TLC, Bryan faces Punk. Bryan loses, but we get a solidified face turn. He shakes his hand after the match.
Is that for the Intercontinental title, is it?
That's for the Intercontinental title. Punk wins, but it's very much Bryan's done with the Nexus.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of now, just how do we get there? The tag titles will go to the Hart. Was it the Hart Dynasty or the Hart Foundation?
Hart
What are they
Dynasty,
called
yeah,
again?
you're right,
Yeah. So they'll face the Hart Dynasty. They'll lose. McGillicuddy will face Edge. He'll lose the US belt. The Nexus have nothing. It all falls on Barrett. He tells them, I don't need you anymore. I'm going on my own. This effectively ends the Nexus. They came in as demons. They're basically going out with a whimper. Nothing has changed, and he's very pissed off at the fact, specifically with Brian, that he gave him his start and he gave him notoriety in this place just before the match now with Cena, and you're fucking useless. You couldn't even beat Punk. I beat Punk. In fact, I've beaten everyone inside, every big name in this company. Got a pin over Taker, got a pin over Triple H, got a pin over Batista, got a pin over Punk, I've got a pin over fucking anyone that they put in front of me. So he goes in to the Cena match. He looks like he's just going to win the true ladder match. And Brian comes out and fucks him. And that's it. He's a face. Done. Brian comes out and fucks him. Cena comes to win the belt. Everyone's going fucking happy. Kind of the same thing happens again with the chairs. He basically buries them on the chairs again. Because that's objectively a very funny thing to do. I still laugh at it when I see it. Didn't laugh at the time. I laugh now. all the Nexus members help him. That fucked him over, except for it's still the heels, McGillicuddy, Harrison Young. They don't. They're gone. They're just persona non grata at this point. The rest of the fucking pack come out. They completely fuck him over. It's done. It's finished. Cena stands tall. We go into the Rumble. Obviously, that'll be a very quick part of this whole video. But we go into the Rumble. Barrett's got nothing. Everyone hates him.
Yeah.
And on top of all that, we'll just do the next night after Raw, or one bit of Raw afterwards.
Sure.
All the shit's gone bad from what does he pick for the Rumble? 1.
So Barrett starts the Rumble at 1.
Barrett starts the Rumble at 1.
Wow. Fantastic.
Everything that could have went wrong in the last couple of months has gone wrong. And you're telling me he can't even get number 30 now?
Well, actually, number 40, considering this is the 40-man Rumble this year. In the 2011 Royal Rumble was the 40-man one.
Christ, yeah. But yeah, Barrett has nothing going from them. He is a lone fish in a very big, pissed off pond that he created. He's the what do they call it? The fucking something of his own making.
Yeah, he's been hoisted down by his own petard.
Yeah, he's no one left. No one likes him anymore. He was a fucking arsehole at the end, so that means he was definitely a fucking arsehole at the end. So that means McGillicuddy, who does eventually change his name to Henning, he's like, I've got my own, exact kind of the way he did it. My own family. I've got my own lineage. Harris has got his own lineage, but he kind of disappears. I suppose eventually we'll get the Wyatt family again, and the rest of them just say, "Piss off, we're done with you. Fight your own battles."
Yeah. Okay.
Oh.
Okay. First of all, I'm loving both TLCs. And seeing that Jamie does have a chance to do the double here and pip Aaron at the post. Aaron, I'll let you roll on here and talk to me about the Royal Rumble. What are your major intentions of the Rumble? You've said already that Wade Barrett is in number 1 for the Rumble. You have John Cena now going into WrestleMania season as WWE champion again. Take from there. What's happening in the Rumble for
when it comes just to the Rumble, obviously everything has been flipped. Brian's a full-blown baby face now. He's got everyone, the crowd behind him, the roster generally likes him. They kind of agree this is not who he was. Barrett was in his ear. Barrett got number 1. Brian gets 40.
He gets 40.
He gets 40.
I would have been hilarious if it was number 2, but okay.
No, I didn't want to. I thought about
the 40 man was the following year.
Was it the following year? 2011.
2012.
Oh, was it?
2012 was the one that Del Rio won.
Oh, okay. Right, well,
but you can do it a year early.
No. It doesn't really matter, I guess.
No, actually, the 2011 Rumble was the 40-man one. I'm just looking at it here.
Was it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Del
Because
Rio.
Del Rio
Oh
comes
yeah.
in as
Then Edge
number 38, yeah.
retired.
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad.
But I think they made it 40 because you had just so many extra people from the Nexus, and I think then was this the start of the fucking core as well.
Oh yeah.
So so
The actual
yeah,
core.
it's the 40.
So yeah, so Brian gets 40, Barrett gets 1. Barrett, through pure spite, manages to get to the last 4. Just battered, bruised. He's managed to survive most of the fucking roster that doesn't necessarily hate him, and all the ones that do. We're
Hmm.
left with Brian, Barrett, Edge, and Punk. And Barrett manages to keep what he's done beforehand. Sorry, not Edge, Jericho. So with Jericho, Brian, and Punk and Barrett. Barrett knocks out Jericho. Barrett knocks out Punk. Is this fucker going to do it again? Is he actually that good? No, he's not. Brian wins.
Okay.
And not in like a big fucking like fight or anything. He knocks out like Jericho. Or sorry, he knocks out Punk, and Brian comes straight in and just whips him up, whips his legs from under him. He's at his lowest point now.
Hmm.
This is it. He's nowhere to
Okay.
go after this. So that's, and then we have Brian going to Mania against fuck, it was doing against Cena.
You gotta have Brian Cena for Mania for WrestleMania.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, Jamie, let's hear your
Mhm.
scenario. So you have a fairly decent scenario there for your TLC.
Mhm.
So where are you going for the Rumble?
So, heading into the Rumble, Wade Barrett, after annihilating Cena, has become absolute god complex, off the charts. This leads to WWE having to call in someone larger. I've been holding back. Triple H takes up the charge to save his company from Wade Barrett, so we have an unsanctioned street fight at
Hmm.
Royal Rumble for the WWE Championship. Wade Barrett defending against Triple H. What
Triple
we get
H.
there, what we get there is Wade Barrett thinking like, "You're going to die." So he comes out. He's wearing his jeans and his t-shirt, and he's bare knuckle boxer, but he's got weapons. And Triple H comes out in his jeans and his t-shirt, and they're gonna fuck each other up. And they do. They beat the shit out of each other. It's a bloody affair. The Nexus show up. As we've established, there is 6 members of the Nexus, seven
Hmm.
members of the Nexus, 7 members of the Nexus remaining. So we get
Hmm.
Otunga, Caval, Axel, Young. No, Young and O'Neill are out. Oh
Young and
yeah,
O'Neill
no,
are
no,
gone. So actually you have
that's
a group
fine.
of 6 left. Yeah.
Yeah, so Ryan, Mason Ryan, Ezekiel Jackson, Curtis Axel, Caval, Otunga all come out to the ring and start beating the shit out of Triple H. At that point, X-Pac, Billy Gunn, Road Dogg, Shawn Michaels, Kevin Nash, and Scott Hall hit the ring.
Oh my Lord.
And we have a Click versus Nexus showdown where the Nexus are run off. While they're run off, Barrett uses brass knucks on Triple H, hits a bull hammer, covers him. 1, 2, 3. Wade Barrett retains the WWE title over Triple H. But we also get a feel good moment from some legends. In the Royal Rumble match, we also have the Nexus regaining the tag team titles from the Usos. Those titles are back in the fold. And then in the Royal Rumble match, we have the main kind of crux of the story, the big baby face going into this, the one we want to have the fans rallying behind, is Daniel Bryan. And the fact that he is going to step up and he's going to stop Wade Barrett because he should have stopped him night one, but he didn't. And now he has to make up for that. So that becomes kind of the story of the Rumble. Well, there's others from SmackDown who are making their case, but
Hmm.
the main one for Barrett is Daniel Bryan. and he becomes the Iron Man of this match. I want him in there for over an hour. I want him doing Daniel Bryan things. He can get that crowd to fucking root for him.
Hmm.
But
Do you have him
with
in as number one or close to number one?
oh, very, very close to number one. If not, yeah, no, I'd nearly do number one itself. Have him
Yeah.
fucking lose a match and be forced into it. But I'd have him go to like 35. Have him in there for well over the hour. Give him the record for the time,
Yeah.
especially considering who used to have.
Yeah.
Oh no, Rey Mysterio has this one. That's fine. But either way, eventually Daniel Bryan is tossed over the top rope by a fucking preening CM Punk, who is only happy to kill his dream. We're getting down to the brass tacks. The final few are in the ring. Wouldn't have him come in at number 40, but I would have him 38, 39. John Cena returning for the first time since TLC. For the second year in a row, John Cena comes in late as a surprise entrant and wins the Royal Rumble. WrestleMania is set up to look like Wade Barrett versus John Cena for only the second time. And if we're throwing in what we're doing for Mania, then they are going to bring an enforcer in to negate the Nexus. The enforcer, much like real life for WrestleMania 27, is going to be The Rock. We're replacing The Miz in the actual main event with Wade Barrett and the Nexus. And lower down on the card, we're doing Daniel Bryan versus CM Punk at Mania.
Mm. Very nice. Very nice indeed. Okay. So now I have an enviable task now to figure out who wins this challenge. So, um, ultimately, so I'm happy to say between the two Royal Rumbles, I think Jamie wins the Rumble because mainly I was a predominantly fan of the Barrett Triple H street fight. Very much a call like Triple H does a street fight at Royal Rumble. It seems to fit. It's one of those kind of weird Mandela effects where like you feel like you've seen it loads of times, but you actually haven't. Um, so I think that really works really well. Cena winning the Rumble, I kind of love super senior booking, but this one makes an awful lot of sense. It really, really does, especially considering what you've actually been doing has been building up Daniel Bryan this whole time. So there is going to be that kind of like organic movement to get Bryan further up the card. And again, you're giving the fans what they want with a match with CM Punk. Like you really can't go wrong there. And even if you were to go for the full kind of match card there as well, you've just kind of given yourself Nexus versus Degeneration X as well, haven't you? Like, fuck
Yep.
me, that would be a fucking wonderful little like the last 5 members of Nexus against like Triple H, Shawn Michaels, X Pac, Billy Gunn, like Road Dogg. Fucking sign me up. I'm in for that. Like that's the match I'm looking forward to. That's the match that got me. Like absolutely. Um so yes, I would say that's I think what also kind of won it as well, like the resolution to the Royal Rumble leading to Cena versus Bryan. The downfall of Wade Barrett is in particular very satisfying. But Cena versus Bryan, I don't know if that's gonna like that. I think that feud needs needs something else in order to kind of spice it up. But again, we
Well, you
have it
have.
on.
I mean, you have 3 months to build it up. He's already nearly
Exactly. Yeah,
there in
yeah,
the
yeah.
main event by the
But
time I
you
start
have a
that
baby
anyway.
face for
So
baby face situation here, so that's always like you need there's something that has to give there. So again, if we were to continue on there, I'm sure we put some meat on those bones. So then it goes back then to TLC and how I think the each match went. So in
Can I
terms of setting up,
just before we get into the last card, can I also say that eventually I want a situation where Nexus becomes no longer a stable because
mm,
it would start to expand to ridiculous degrees and it becomes a brand and the Nexus stable becomes the birth of NXT
I'll be honest with you, I
as
feel like
the
that's
show
where
we
the
know.
yeah, I think the both of you are kind of getting that way as well because like
Yeah.
even like even at one point, like again, the stable was like 11 people at that point. Like that's a roster in and of itself. But absolutely, I think that would like that really should have been the proverbial legacy of the Nexus is that it is the bedrock that like NXT is built on. And like especially considering when you see how many people do like from the 5 seasons of NXT, that is kind of what it was, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, NXT Redemption doesn't really count. Fuck that, right? It doesn't matter. But at the very least, like the people that are there are kind of the proof of concept that something like this would work. Obviously you didn't mention season 3 because it wasn't much of a like the Divas wouldn't have been much of a factor in this particular feud. But again, the same rule applies that like the 6 people in that catchment for NXT season 3 are the bedrock of current women's wrestling. Like Naomi's there, AJ's there. I mean, if they stuck if they were there still, like Caitlyn and Maxine were great like kind of hands as well for a while. So you had stuff like that too. So yeah, I think that's a good bedrock, and I think that's the overall legacy of like really both storylines, really ultimately. But I think like there's got to be grander overtures, and Jamie's one, I'm sure. Um, so who do I think has the better TLC pay-per-view? Like as in terms of the resolution, um, I'm going. It's a very tough call, and well done to both of you on the night for giving me a tough decision to make. But I think I'm going to give it to Aaron. It's a very marginal one, but yeah, it's very, very marginal. I think what I kind of liked there was chinks in the armor on both sides of the story, much more obvious on Jamie's one. Oh, guys, got the title out. You have 5 seconds to put that title away, or else I'm giving it to Jamie.
Oh,
Correct answer. Um, but um, but yeah, I think like the Barrett Reign of Terror one, I think sets up the Rumble a lot better. Because I think like especially with the kind of momentum going into TLC, I think the catharsis is a good time to do it then. So in a weird way, it like the TLC like ending leads to a much better Rumble, if that makes sense. Whereas the resolution at TLC means that you have a bit of a reset come the Royal Rumble. So in a weird way, I think if Barrett won the Rumble and sets up like kind of like some sort of way bad revenge tour, I'd be more enticed. But either way, I'm happy with both storylines to be honest. I think both of them were fantastic. So again, well done lads. Another fucking tight run storyline here. Like so Aaron wins 5-4. But yeah, it was absolutely top notch stuff, guys. And like I don't know about you lads, but I'd rather what we have written down here than what happened in real life, because that would have been fucking great. Incidentally, here's a fun story for you. Do you want to know who was actually meant to be on season 6 of NXT back in the day?
I'll go
Roman.
with Seth Rollins.
Well, okay, so here is apparently the roster. It was meant to be Biggie Langston, Bo Dallas, Damian Sandow, Jinder Mahal, Hunico, Leo Kruger, Xavier Woods, and Seth Rollins.
When you
So
consider the talent that's in that, fucking hell, that would have been Jesus.
yeah,
To
yeah.
be fair,
So like so,
a lot of them made up the bedrock of NXT when it
Yeah.
became a
but to
brand.
your points, yeah, exactly, yeah,
Which,
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah, so there you go. Right then, so yeah, that is us then for Butter Super. So Aaron, you're on the mark. You're off the mark. We've all won one now. So that means like somebody is gonna
Woo!
have to do the double next on the next video. So but what's refreshing enough now, Aaron, is that you get to host the next episode. So do you have a
Fucking
scenario for us now, or will you sleep
hold
on it to let
opens
us know?
galore. I do have a scenario. You're gonna have to rebook Hogan's debut in the TNA.
Hogan's debut in TNA in 2003 or Hogan's debut in TNA in 2010.
2010. All the way up to Bound for
January
Glory.
4th. Jesus.
The Jan 4th impact all the way to the Bound for Glory that year where they turned Jeff heel.
Oh my God, that's fuck me.
Do we have do we have free reign on firing people?
Yeah,
You
can I
no,
immediately fire Hulk Hogan?
no, you can't.
Fuck that.
No,
I'll
you
put
can't.
Bob with the Love Sponge in a fucking pinata match where he's the pinata.
But
I bet can use
that's
Janice.
that it was either going to be that or you rebook Aces and Eights. It was going to be one or the other.
Ooh.
And
Hmm.
I felt like this was more fun. I feel like when Aces and Eights came around, I feel like people could probably rebook that at the end because that's where most people checked out of TNA. I feel like for a lot of people, that was it.
See, at my core, I'm a TNA mark, and
Yes.
I have very, very strong feelings about what Hulk Hogan did in that company in 2010.
So this is where you are now. This is your next one. Enough time there. Obviously, I'll remind you when we get there again, because I gotta remember. I remember some of the pay per views that go there, like Victory Road, Genesis, and stuff like that. But I gotta obviously remember the time.
Oh, fucking Lockdown!
Yeah,
Lockdown was wonderful.
So in keeping with the theme of the series, what's the one thing that we're changing from what actually happened in history? So if we are booking Hogan and TNA, what's the one thing that we're changing?
we're not going to change much, right? Hogan still
No.
comes in. He just doesn't bring in a lot of his mates. But I think, and
But that's
basically,
the
you're just
same.
gonna
That's
you're
the whole
gonna
idea of the alternate timeline. Something has to happen on the
Yeah.
January 4th show. That's that we have
Or
to
or are we
determine.
free to choose? Could it be two different things?
But that's what I mean. Yeah. So
I
what are
was
we taking
basically
out?
giving you in my one. I was basically giving you free reign to choose because you
Okay.
can't really take something out of all of that. What you
Hmm.
like the only real thing you could really take out of it is Bischoff doesn't join. That doesn't really fundamentally change much of what actually happened. You can just
Yeah.
slip him in for Russo or fucking Dixie. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have basically free reign to rebook his first 8 months in TNA. Effectively, you have to save it from ruin. That's
Hmm.
your goal. You save
Okay.
TNA from ruin because obviously we know what happens. We eventually get the Jeff heel turn, and then he gets caught with drugs and goes on to that pay per view off his tits, which not
No.
good.
That was long before
Was he?
that. That was Victor Hotel. That was Victor
Yeah.
Hotel's was it
That was
not?
very yeah. So
2009. This was
2009,
the
yeah.
year after
do you
the
know? No, he went off
Sting
his
fuck
no.
up.
He was off his tits. No, because he turned heel. Remember? Going for glory.
I'm
We're
almost
here.
sure. Yeah, the
I think it was
immortal
2000.
bullshit. I hated the belt. We had this conversation, but I'm almost sure the Victory Road thing happened the year before.
No, because it was all Hogan's thing. It was a base Hogan, Jarrett.
Actually, no. Yeah, no. It was Victor Road
Yeah.
2011.
Don't
Oh
don't
shit.
don't
Yeah.
you fuck question me
Okay.
on my TNA. All
Well,
right.
my apologies.
Yeah. In fairness, I
But
thought it was 2000. I
I
was
was
confusing that with 2009. Yeah. So there you go.
I watched
Same. I had
that
the exact same one.
I
Yeah.
watch that in Bravo every week. All right. Don't you fuck question me, little shit.
Agree, mate.
No, he turns heel. So basically, I'll try and work it around that. I'll get a timeline eventually to work it around. But my point is that I think the big change there with the timeline, I might not even do January 4th. I might do We're Here onwards.
I think we can do January 4th to bounce to up
Yeah,
to like Victor Road
Yeah,
is like
because it
yeah.
goes Genesis against all odds,
Was that the year
Destination
they had two?
X,
Was that the year they had two Genesis?
Lockdown, possibly, Sacrifice, Slammiversary, Victory Road, Hardcore Justice, No Surrender, Bound for Glory. 10.
Yeah, that works. That
Yeah,
works for me.
and
Yeah.
I can make it a bit. I can slim it down a bit as well. We could kind of knock off some pay per views and just use that or something because 10 pay per views
Yeah.
is a lot to fucking get through. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's fair.
But I'll get more of a timeline. But basically, you're gonna have to rebook. What if everything didn't go to shit with Hogan? Your goal is to save TNA from what was effectively financial ruin, barring the fact that what actually caused it was Russo being a fucking idiot, misspelling a name, which is really the catalyst as to what happened there. He sent it to the wrong person. So
That one has a lot of facets to it. Like that's the curious thing. But that is for us to figure out in the next episode. So we shall see.
Yeah.
Okay then. So in that case then,
you get a prime. So what do we have there? You have Jarrett in the middle of his double J double MMA stuff. I would like both of you to keep because that was the funniest shit he'd done since the 90s.
Oh,
You
TNA
have
in
Prime Angle,
2010.
you have Prime Angle, you have Prime
Prime
Styles.
Park Angle.
You
Yeah.
had the debut, I think, in that point of the current SmackDown general manager, Nick Aldis. Could be wrong. That might have been the year
British
afterwards.
Invasion. They would have been
Yeah,
around.
you had Doug Williams. You had that Welsh
Yeah.
lad who I can't remember, but was definitely
Oh,
fucking
Rob
close
Terry.
to the gills. Rob Terry, yeah.
Yeah. You had
You had a lot.
EV2. They did their
EV2.
version of ECW.
Yeah.
Yes, you did, and you also had Immortal. But you had
Yeah, well,
Flair's. You had Flair's kind of Four Horsemen fucking knock off there for a bit. It was a decent team. You had what?
you had
Bobby
Mr.
Roode.
Anderson as a main eventer.
You had Mr.
Jesus,
Anderson as the main event. You had Rob Van Dam inside there. You had Bear Money inside there. You had
The Machine
Heel
Guns.
AJ Styles, Morrissey and Machine Guns, Desmond Wolf, Nigel McGuinness before
Yeah.
his career ended, and he never came back.
Correct.
Someone didn't bring him back for a fucking battle royal at a pay per view in Wembley, because that's how you book him to return. So that's basically what we have. I feel like that could be fun. I feel like we can all have some fun with that.
Yeah,
A
we can
decent
actually,
roster
yeah.
there. You also had a banging women's roster at that point. We still had Gail Kim. We still had Awesome Kong. We still
I'm
had,
looking forward to this.
Yeah, this is interesting. This is very interesting.
Yeah, because we've done all WWE stuff. I feel like we need to change. It was either going to be that,
Yeah.
or I was going to ask you to rebook NWO, but Hogan didn't join.
I know, in fairness,
One
this
of the-
is good. This is a nice
Yeah.
change. Nice
Yeah.
change. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Awesome.
enjoy that. That should be fun.
Absolutely. We will.
I look forward to
I'm
it.
about to ruin their lives.
Anyway, good stuff.
yeah.
Right then. Well, until then, guys, we'll see you on the next episode where we go into the impact zone and try and fix it. Try and make it better. Try and help it. Try and save it. Whichever fucking verb is applicable. But until then, we'll still see you on the next one. First of all, Aaron, Jamie, thank you very much for jumping on tonight and
Thank you
giving
for
us
having
a wonderful possibility of what could have been. I always feel there was always a real kind of come down after these episodes because like all of our ideas were substantially better than the real life, than
Yes.
the real world, and it just makes me sad at that point. But however, but until then, we shall see yous on the next episode. So until then, guys, we'll see you then.
Have a good one.
Have a good one.
Good.